pole position that he's now going to be fighting for and trying to maintain throughout here. But I reckon he's got off a shout.
It is quite startling, actually. In the first 3 rounds of the season, the only result which he scored, which was above 10th, was his 3rd place in race 3 at Misano. Now, to be fair, he was very much cheated out of a win in race 1. Of course, a very controversial contact with Jack Keithley that saw him fly down the order. Arguably should have won that race. But to come back from that and score a podium in the same round is plauditable. You know, it's incredibly... It shows a good mental spirit. And he's only continued that further. Podium in race 3 in Britain. Of course, a win in race 1 at China. A 2nd place in race 3 at China. I agree. I think it's a little bit too little, a little bit too late when it comes to title contention. In the drivers, Josh.
Yeah, in the drivers.
I looked at the teams, though. And I mean, they're only 50 points behind Smile Power. They're only 100 points behind Epic. And if this sort of form continues, and if Taylor is able to find the form that earned him a spot at Vodball a couple of years back, then maybe they could be contending for top 3. I wouldn't put it past them, certainly.
I don't think you're wrong in saying that. I definitely think if Erhan keeps this form up, he can definitely, along with Adam Taylor, help push Adonis up the order, challenge for these top positions. Not saying win it outright, but then again, you know, there's no reason why they can't if they're still within contention. But definitely push for it. Definitely push towards that top end. If Erhan could just keep this going, because we know he's a good driver, but he's just been struggling a bit recently, especially in his exploits in the top level single seaters here in GPVWC. But you know, he seems to have found something in the touring cars at the very least. And if he can keep this up, I would not be surprised to see him be a major part of a potential resurgence in the teams from Adonis.
It's all very well, of course, getting excited about qualifying and pacing qualifying, but I'm going to go back to that point I made about Scott Cervic, Josh, in that you can qualify well, but I guess the points aren't won on Sunday in this regard, but the points are going to be won at, I don't know, what is it, 8:15, 8:30 and 9:30? I don't know what the exact timings would be, but you get the idea. Points are won in the race. It's all about that consistency. And when it comes to Okayama, you do have some very nice overtaking opportunities. I'm looking at turn 1. I'm looking at the hairpin, which David fired at Yaltai, and they're going into now. On top of that, though, we do have this tyre issue. And if you were sitting in one of these cars right now, what would you rather be doing? Conserving the tyres and going for a long style of strategy where maybe you'll be overtaking people rather easily near the end, or do you go all out? Do you go for position? And do you trust in the track that you'll be able to defend in the latter stages of the races?
Honestly, that would depend on which car I was in, actually, because they are so different. If I was in that Subaru right now, I wouldn't usually be having problems in tyre wear problems in a rear-wheel drive car anyway. But I'd be thinking possibly just go for it in a rear-wheel drive, because you're going to have less tyre wear anyway. I'd be more concerned if I was driving a front-wheel drive, because around here, you are going to have problems if you go all out. And then, you know, you may suffer from horrendous understeer in the later stage of the race, and that's going to make you pray for the better front-wheel drives or the rear-wheel drives. That's going to mean you've got big problems then. So if you're a rear-wheel drive driver, you can afford to push harder, and that's kind of the advantage here. But then you've got the front-wheel drivers, which have their advantages anyway. Often better control, often better straight-line speed, and you know, these are the things that the front-wheel drives have in exchange for burning the tyres easily. So it's a double-edged sword, and that's probably why a lot of teams have picked the cars they have this season, because it's been a compromise formula.
And I think the balance is such a fine one to try and... It's kind of like walking a tightrope, honestly, because in particular, I look at the Vauxhall Astra. Now, you look at the pure characteristics of these cars, you would say lots of tight corners, high tyre wear is going to be a rear-wheel drive circuit. You look at the tight nature of Okayama, you'd also say, well, okay, surely the Vauxhall Astra is going to be good around this circuit. It's been great around all the tight and twisty sections of all the tracks that we've had this season so far. Why wouldn't it do well here? Well, it's a yin-yang situation, because on the other side of the coin, you have the fact that the Vauxhall Astra, in exchange for excellent handling around those tight corners, is also generally Different drivers can handle it in different ways, but generally, that car's going to be eating through its tyres quicker than any other car on the grid. So, I'm thinking back to Poznan, and I'm thinking of the enterprise strategy of save tyres for half the race, and then go for it in the latter stages of the races. That might very well be what a lot more of the field are looking to do. Of course, we'll wait and see what sort of tyre selections we have, because they do have two compounds available. They have the soft compound and they have the hard compound. I know they're white tyres, so you think medium, but whatever. It's soft and hard compound. I imagine we might see a fair few drivers going for the harder compound, at least in race one, Josh, to sort of test the waters and see how they go.
Yeah, just ease themselves in race one, because race one often is not where the most opportunities lie. Often we see more chaos come towards race three, and that's not to say race three is going to be a crash fest, because it's not. You know, it's ITC, but it's often, you know, we have these sort of assumptions that are untrue. And I'm just saying, race three is often the most unpredictable, but often for the good reasons rather than the bad. But I think if there's a race to take the harder tyre in, definitely race one. Definitely race one. Easy selling.
Let's go for the nice way of putting it. They're entertaining races to watch, our race threes.
That's what I was trying to get at, yes. English is not, despite being from England, English is not often my best language.
Oh, that's being a bit harsh on yourself. Tell you what, though, if you are being harsh on yourself, thinking, oh, I don't have enough time to wait until race three, make time. It's not just about trying, you know, the last chance of the evening to get points, but we also have that fabled reverse grid of a randomly generated number between 10 and 15. It is that randomly reverse generated number which saw Lewis McGlade take the win in Brands Hatch. It's as simple as that. He admitted himself he wouldn't have been able to win without that advantageous starting position, and especially around a track like Okayama. I think that's going to play into whoever is on provisional on that pole position's hands. That's a lot of comma S's. Forget it. Whatever. It's exciting. Wow. You should stay around until then. And you should stay around now, of course, because warm-up is over. And we're about to head into our first race of 3. 13 laps on the table. Josh, we've had a lot of winners. We've had a lot of podium sitters, actually, this year as well. With Lucas Schmidt up there, with Jarl Tyne up there, do you think we might see another new winner in 2018?
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no, definitely. Schmidt, I think, definitely has the pace to be that new winner, potentially. But you've got to remember what you said. He is mostly a single-seater driver. And realistically, anyone who comes into touring cars from single-seaters is going to be in for a culture shock, unless you've done, like, hundreds of laps of testing. So you've got that to consider. Schmidt definitely, I think, is going to be up there, if not winning this race. Strana's got the experience as a multiple champion. Jajovski has hit pace recently. McLean, obviously, well, we know he can shine at any time he pleases. Jarl Tyne and Kevin Seaver-Rabanak as well, 5th and 6th in the Subarus, both hard contenders. It's going to be a tough one, I think, to predict this. But if I had to put my 50 pence anywhere, I would say that I'm not just saying this for popularity either. I'd probably have to go for Lulu.
Wow. Okay.
He just has the experience, and he can hit it off whenever we know he can hit it off. It could just be his race one.
Interesting. I like the logic. Although I would say it depends.
Yeah,
on a lot
if
of
he
factors.
gets a good start. If he gets a good start.
Now, there is a bit of controversy here, because Adrian Camfield believes that his penalty from last time out, Yep,
there you go.
I thought so. So, okay. Let's go backwards a little bit. So, the problem here is that there was a rather hefty start incident in race number 1 at Zhuhai. Again, apologies that there wasn't a broadcast for that. Reasons.
Yeah, reasons.
Long story short, I'm making lots of hand directions, but I know you guys can't see it. On the very inside of the track, so just imagine like there's a wall and grass on the right-hand side, and you've got the rest of the field on the left-hand side. You've got Mohammed Patel in the middle of the track. You've got Adrian Camfield storming up the inside. He's had a cracker of a start, and he sees a gap. He takes the gap, and Mohammed Patel comes in and in and in and in and in, and you can probably see where this is going. Kablooey, cars everywhere. I think both enterprises taken out in that incident, which contributed to their bad evening. Hullabaloo. to me at least, I saw the incident back. I'm thinking, okay, Camfield was bold to put his car there, but ultimately the fault lies more with Mohammed Patel because he's the one who turned in when he didn't really have to. And the DC admitted, I feel, unless I misread it, that they made a mistake in their call because they said, okay, we're going to give Patel a penalty for causing the incident, and we're going to give Campfield a penalty for not moving out the way, which, I mean, I personally felt it was harsh, and it seems like it was deemed as harsh because it's clearly being replaced, which is why we're restarting warm-up. So there we go. The grid's being reset with Campfield where he should be. My bad. I forgot that he didn't have the penalty which he was given now.
Yeah, and I think actually this is quite convenient for race director Chris Williamson because there's now going to be a 20-place penalty added to Pedro Delgado, I think, for cutting over the white lines at some point, either this race or last. But I think he definitely has a penalty to be added. So that's going to be doing there. Campfield's going to get his removed, I believe, given, there's going to be some slight alterations. Oh, well, Chris Williamson now asking why. Bit of an uncertain situation here then. But, ultimately, this does not fall to Chris Williamson. It falls to head of DC, Roy Schroten. That'll be whether Roy's told Chris to remove the penalty or not. I think we'll know in a couple of minutes whether there is going to be a removal or not. And if there isn't, there may be a bit of fallout after that, but I'm sure that'll be dealt with. But bit of uncertainty here at Okayama as to the state of the penalties, for sure.
So Delgado definitely has a 20 place.
Yeah, he's had that added because of cutting the white lines. That's been mentioned.
He had a 20 place anyway, so he might
that might be it.
A 40 place. I don't know. Either way, he should be near the back of the grid. That much is certain. And so we're just getting the information through that the disciplinary committee have said that they would adjust the penalty. But have we had confirmation?
Yeah, therein lies the issue.
Because see, if it's going to be adjusted, then to me it makes sense not to serve the penalty here, but to serve whatever penalty is given in
it kind of makes sense.
Next round.
If there's any discrepancy, defer it and serve it the next round. You want to get the right penalty. That's how I would see it if I were, of course, which I'm not race director. If I were, I'd say if there was uncertainty, serve it next round. But it's probably not my call to say when he serve it. It's head of DC's decision. It's Roy Schroten. So really, he's going to get the call here. I see the grid has now been set. I'm looking up and down it really quickly here. And I see, it's being added as I speak here. And we are going to grid now. I'm seeing that Campfield is actually 13th now. And
so he's not had his penalty.
So neither is Delgado. Delgado's not being added.
Oh, really?
If there was a 20, so because he's 16, so there can't be a 20 in there, and Campfield seems to have been missed. So there you go. That's the state of play.
So both Delgado and Campfield with penalties removed.
Either removed or adjusted or forgotten. It'll wash out in the wash, I think, at the end. But at least we have a grid for race one, as I think we ought to have our race for good on as the 30 seconds to go until we head off into the formation, James.
There's such confusion. Like this is a proper like fat controller moment.
Confusion and delay.
Are we not allowed to say fat controller anymore? It might be Sir Topham Hatt. I don't know. It's a very PC generation these years, and so it's like I'm pretty sure they call him whatever. He was the fat controller in my day. He's going to be the fat controller. And
the geometrically larger than average controller. We'll say that.
Excellent. That is the best. That's the most conservative, safe way of putting it. Let's safely take you through the grid then, shall we, as well. There's going to be Erhan Yuyovski with his second pole position of the year. He's going to be leading us off here on our formation lap ahead of the debutant, the Swiss driver, Lucas Schmidt, filling in for Chris Butcher. What an impressive effort from the man who usually drives single-seaters. Behind him, we have the 2014 and 15 ITC champion, Eric Strana, up there once again in P3, ahead of an impressively qualifying Lewis McGlade P4 for Aurora. Jarl Tyen makes his first battle this season for Edge Esports, replacing Mohammed Patel in P5, and he's going to be ahead of his teammate for this evening, Kevin Siggy Rebanak, our championship leader, and of course, the holder of the maximum 90 kilograms of weight ballast going into this race. Chris Shepherd, possible outsider for the championship now at this point in terms of the drivers, will start P7 ahead of Adam Pinches, who's been impressive, the Hungarian this season in P8 for Smile Power. Niels Brugman for Enterprise Pulsars is P9 ahead of the man who is second in the drivers championship, Matt Richards, who I'm sure will be pretty disappointed with that effort. Scott Cervik starts inside the points scoring positions for IDOS. He's going to need big point scores today in order to relieve their pressure. He's P11 ahead of David Fidek, P12 for Epic. We then have Adrian Campfield without penalty, P13 for YDF1, ahead of his compatriot Dan Kell in the Aurora, P14. We welcome to the ITC Martin Hemmingson for Rowan GP, replacing Nico Barkley in P15, with a penaltyless Pedro Delgado for Racing Team Schroten, P16. Adam Taylor will be disappointed, I'm pretty sure, down in P17 for Adonis, though points are in sight both for him and indeed the second of the Rowan GPs, Tristan Potters in P18. David Yunt will be starting P19 for the not often seen CM Tech Subaru. And rounding out the top 20, we have Raunumuru in the lead of the TTFs. And then rounding out our grid of 28, we have Ben Willis in the Drake, Philip Morby in the Racing Team Stroton, Mike Bell disappointing to be down there in P23 in the Smile, Mitchie Hoyer to be disappointed down there in the ACR in P24. We welcome Lorenz Doherty in the IDOS car down in P25. And then big names at the back, actually, in our bottom three positions. Gergo Baldi for Enterprise, Johan Limburg for YDF1, and Tobias Olsen starting plumb last, the Swede for Red Bull Street Fighter. I'll be sure to keep a beady eye on those three making their way through the grid as our drivers arrive at such. It's almost time for race one.
Yeah, apologies to the viewers. I think we appear to be stuck on the splash screen at the moment. We will keep you updated as to what's going on, of course, via the commentary. We're hoping to get the broadcast visuals back soon. But yes, drivers lining up on the grid. Olsen taking his spot now. Race one is about to get underway.
Bit of an unknown here, Okayama, another track which many of these drivers have not raced before. Let's find out together, shall we? As the 5 lights illuminate above the grid. We're racing here in Japan for the first time this evening. And it looks to be a decent start there from Yoyoski. Eric Strachan has made a lightning start. In fact, it's Lucas Schmidt who's made the worst out of the top 3. Almost gobbled up by the rest of the field there. The Subaru's not really making the best of starts there either. Usually the rear-wheel drive's so strong, but no positions gained on this particular occasion. Although looking at Jarl Tyen, looking to go up the inside of Lewis McGlade immediately as we head through the Moss S. The two of them going to go side by side now. It's going to be Lewis McGlade on the inside, a bit of rubbing there as we head uphill through the Altwood curve. I notice Chris Shepherd there in P7. Niels Brugman's made a good start. He's jumped Adam Pinches for P8. Adam Taylor's made up a few positions as well, up to P15. And Campfield's had a storm of a start up to P11. Now heading into the hairpin for the first time of asking. Once again, Lewis McGlade under increasing pressure from Jarl Tyen. Behind Chris Shepherd under increasing pressure from Niels Brugman. Look at this. I was thinking that Enterprise were going to go conservative in the first pass of the race. Contact between the two. Chris Shepherd going to rejoin the track now. And Niels Brugman, I think, is going to let him get back past. Yeah, indeed, he's just let off the throttle a little bit, and that's allowed Chris Shepherd back through into P7. Matt Richards has also always, look at that, I was going to say he made his way past Adam Pinches, but instead it's Adam Pinches looking on Niels Brugman, and up ahead, what's happened to Schmidt, or was it McGlade? So exchanging positions, yeah. Tyen and McGlade have been side by side for almost this entire lap. Really respectable racing between the two of them. Finally, McGlade comes out on top, but Josh, at the end of lap 1, it is still Yoyoski who leads from Strana, Schmidt, McGlade, Tyen, Siggy Rebenak, Shepherd, Brugman, Pinches, and Richards.
Yeah, fantastic start from Yoyoski and Strana there. Schmidt does drop a position, I believe, from his starting place there. McGlade holds a solid 4th, Tyen, and then obviously, as you rightly say, Siggy Rebenak 6th. I've been looking further down the grid. Adam Taylor, as you rightly say, had a good start, got a bit of an off track, but David Fidek now appears to be going through on him for P13 here. A bit of rubbing between the two, but it looks like the 2-time Super League champion is going to get through here. McGlade now down to 5th, I've just noticed, as, well, briefly at least, as Tyen tried to edge ahead, but didn't quite get it done there. Taylor and Fidek scrapping with each other. Yunt, Delgado down in the 18th place, as Hoyer and Olsen having a battle after he disposed of Ben Willis, who I think actually maybe a little bit annoyed by Hoyer's move, may have exploited the track limits a bit there. That might be what you want to keep in his mind, Willis, if he wants to protest it. But either way, you know, this top 10 still so close. Both edge cars 5th and 6th at the moment doing well, but really the dream start for Yoyoski, who has kept up his qualifying pace.
There's been an exchange of positions there. Jarl Tyen attempted to go for one of his trademark Super League Ricardo-esque moves on Lewis McGlade. Didn't pay off, and it meant that when it came to entering the revolver, Kevin Siggy Rebenak was allowed basically a free position. And look at this, the Austro-Slovenian looking to make hay while the sun shines, immediately pressuring Lewis McGlade, picking up from where his teammate left off. Yayovsky driving off into the distance, 1.1 seconds ahead of Strana, who has Schmidt all up in his rearview mirrors. And I wonder whether the Swiss driver is going to look for a move into first corner here. Yeah, he brakes late, and that one was pretty easy, actually. Eric Strana letting him have that. Behind Lewis McGlade, just about holding on to P4. The edge car's getting very congested there. You can tell that they've got a lot of pace, but they don't have the pure grunt to actually get past this Honda. It's been a frustration of theirs all season long, and I wouldn't like to be in that car if I was waiting 11, 12 laps behind Lewis McGlade, who is a very stubborn defender himself.
Yeah, you know, we know what Lewis is capable of. He does not give positions up easily. He's always a hard target to pass when he gets on it. You know, he can really fight within the best of them, and you know, he's going to be a tough one for these edge cars to get through because he's got the speed advantage in the straight line compared to the Levorgs in that Civic. Although, Siggy would put a bit of contact there on the entrance of the corner. Doesn't get the position made. I don't think McGlade would have been happy if he had anyway. So these guys are really having to push hard to get through there. That's not going to do their tyres any favours anyway, even though they're in a rear-wheel drive car. So they're going to have problems if they can't get through the brick wall that is Lewis McGlade right now. And that's going to give Chris Shepard some hope behind them as well, because he and that Honda will not have to push as hard knowing they're getting held up.
2 laps. And 2 edge cars throwing or attempting to throw themselves up the inside of the hairpin. Lewis McGlade is having none of it, and such he remains in P4. Further back, Campfield's now pressuring the back of Richards. You can see actually how much of a train McGlade is starting to form here, because I looked back to Campfield, and lo and behold, I could see the lovely bright blue and white car of Lewis McGlade just ahead. Taylor's made a great start, hasn't he? Up to P12. Cervic, Fidek and Kell currently rounding out the rest of the point scorers. For those starting near the back, Olsen up to 19th, Hoyer up to 20th, Baldy up to 23rd. Lindbergh's not really moved anywhere, so for the majority of those guys, they're making decent progress, albeit slow, as we're on lap 4 of 13 now. And I'm looking at that lead gap, and it has absolutely been slashed down by, I want to say, half of what it was. Lucas Schmidt within 6/10 of Yayovsky. That lead has been comfortable up until this point, Josh. I fear for Yayovsky's sake that it might not be so comfortable anymore.
Yeah, we'll see how Erhard deals with the pressure of Schmidt behind him now, with Strana having moved down in that Red Bull Street Fighter. And, well, Eric Strana, we know how good he is. We know how good he can be. That's why Red Bull Street Fighter have signed him. But ultimately, Schmidt, Yayovsky, this is going to be a very interesting battle, because obviously we know Schmidt from Open Wheelers. We know Yayovsky's been hitting form recently. Interesting clash of 2 drivers here, and Strana and McGlade will be interested parties in case it all boils over, which I don't expect it will. I expect level heads will be kept here, but you never know when you've got 2 talents as good as these two, what could possibly happen as well. Siggy actually going for McGlade here as well. Oh, getting a bit on the grass as well. He's really trying to get through here, Siggy Rebenak, but McGlade just having absolutely none of it, because we know, again, how good he can be, and he's living up to his reputation of being a hard target.
What will be frustrating for Kevin in particular, though, is now Lewis McGlade is close enough to Eric Strana to pick up the slipstream ahead of him. And so he's got, I mean, look at that, absolutely motoring away down the straights. There is no way that Subaru is going to overtake the Hondas in a straight line. They are going to have to do it in the infield section. But it then comes to a question of when and where. I fear for these guys that they're going to have to make it pay in the long game. They're going to have to think, okay, listen, we are going to have much better tyres near the end of this race. Let's be patient, but these guys are not patient drivers, Josh. They want to make their way through as quickly as possible. They are losing time hand over fist. And whilst Lewis McGlade is slow through turn number 4 there, they are going to be made to pay even further. Look how defensive McGlade going now. Very much to the inside of the track. There is a little bit of an opening on the inside, but then the track sort of narrows in a little bit. Siggy Rebenak brakes late on the outside. Going to try and go fully around the outside of the hairpin. He's still got a bit of purchase, struggling for grip, but on the inside of the revolver, he makes it stick. That's an outstanding move.
That was fantastic from Siggy there, and partially aided, I think, by the fact that McGlade dropped back a couple of tenths, possibly due to connection issues with the server. It was quite sudden, but either way, Tyne's on his back now, and he's going to have the pressure on, because we know y'all Tyne's not exactly someone is going to lie down and take position. Oh, I think there was maybe a bit of contact there between the two. He's not going to take this lying down, but McGlade's not going to be happy with the fact he was overtaken. Now look where Kevin Siggy is. He's trying to go for Eric Strada. He's been set free, and this is what the Mercedes DTM champion can do.
Onto the back straight then. He had trouble trying to overtake Lewis McGlade. I get the feeling, I get the impression that Strana is running lower gearing, because look at this, Siggy Rebnak dives to the inside of the first corner. And we saw this happen with Schmidt just a few laps ago. The door was left open, the opportunity was there, and Kevin Siggy going to go and try and go fully around the outside. No, Williams, you've got to be joking.
This is going to be a hard one, though, because Strana's going to have the straight line speed advantage, but be forced to the outside round here. I think this might be position made now for Rebnak as he comes round. And Strana, well, he's going to have a look into the next turn. He's got a big long road where he'll exploit the top speed advantage of his Honda to go around the outside. But again, it's the outside. He's going to struggle here unless he can really, really get a major advantage into the revolver. Here they come now. Strana, no, he's on the outside. Again, as we know, he'll need a big advantage into here if he's going to make anything work. Contact between the two. Siggy now is going to really be forced to the outside. And, well, Strana, there you rightly go. Outbreak him here, and he's got it. But it's not, that's still side by side. No one can gain the advantage. This is mental stuff here with Strana at the inside of Siggy now, and well, I think that's shot for now for Strana at the end of the revolver. He has managed to get something done into the final two, and he holds position after a monumental battle. I'm in shock here, James, just how long these two have been going for it. Absolutely brilliant stuff between these two, and I am surprised just how well they've been going. Apologies if we have lost James Kirk there for a minute. Oh no, unless it's just me. Could be either, obviously, but either which way. Strana, Schmidt, Yayovsky all fighting it for top three at the moment. Siggy P4, and current battles still resuming themselves and keeping things going, and especially in this midfield as well. I'm looking at the midfield here. Tyan, Shepherd, Brugman, McGlade, Printers, Campfield, Taylor, Richards, Stovik fighting. Look how close this train is. Absolutely crazy stuff here. Yeah, apologies for that slight lack of co-commentary, well, lead commentary from James Cake if we have temporarily lost him. Hopefully he'll be back soon. He's still in Discord. Oh, yep, in fact, yep, you're back. We got you again. He's here. Temporary failure as response of the James Kirk executable file, but he's back now.
I'm going to be as useful as a chocolate log fire for the moment because Rfactor 2 crashed. It's as simple as that, so I'll be back as soon as I can.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'll try my best. I'll try my best. Well, as I was saying, I'll move on because Siggy and Strana, toe-to-toe around this final corner. They want to go at it again, and I don't blame them because, well, it's Kevin Siggy, and he needs to try and get himself into that third place to get himself on the podium. Siggy here going to run around the outside for now, obviously. He can't get the inside into turn one, but he'll try and look for an advantage wherever he can get it. Tyan acting as a rear gunner effectively from Shepherd, although I don't think there's going to be any concern here yet, although Schmidt and Yayovsky are starting to close up again, and Yayovsky and Schmidt could be an interesting battle for the lead, but it's just not happened yet. But I think Lucas is starting to gain to the point where it could become a battle. Siggy's going to have the draft on Strana here down the back straight, but it won't, I don't think, be enough on its own because, as we know, the Honda's faster in a straight line. Shepherd is going to have to attack Tyan. Tyan's going to be rear gunner for Siggy Rebnak here. McGlade's dropped all the way down to 8th in all this. I didn't notice that. He has dropped major positions here. He's lost out to Brugman and Shepherd and Tyan. So that's going to be problematic. Tyan now seriously defending from Shepherd, in fact. So realistically, Shepherd and Tyan, the battle that's going to affect Siggy and Strana, because it's rear gunner versus epic driver number 1 for this 5th place here. And if Yaltine can't defend it, it's a point loss for Edge. Siggy, he's not going to go down the inside of here, is he? He's going to give it a shot. That much is for certain. But Strana, again, with the advantage. Siggy round the outside as they come into the final two. The sort of inverted revolver, so to speak. to come into these final two. Strana's still going ahead, so unless Siggy Rubberneck can pull off a miracle, Strana holds the position for another lap. And that's going to be important for him because it's another lap that Red Bull holds on to that podium position and another attempt to keep Strana's championship hopes alive. Schmidt and Yayovsky no closer to each other than they were in the previous lap, but Shepard's on the back of Tyan like a dog on the back of a treat here. He really wants this P3 and potentially further up. Oh, Siggy now going into the inside contact with Strana, not major contact, not enough to unsettle the Swede, the two-time, three-time, multiple-time ITC champion. But Siggy Rubberneck, he is pushing at every opportunity now. He's getting the car sideways into every corner he needs to. He's putting maximum pressure on, but I'm worried he's hurting his tyres by doing that. And he's got Ty in here, acting as his rear gunner, but also closing in. Potentially then, Siggy may not be as fast as Ty, and it's going to be a game of waiting, I feel, for Ty in here as regards to whether he's going to get a shot at Strana. But it's going to be an interesting quantity. In amongst all this, I've just noticed Tyrone Fifth Nether took the start, unfortunately. He missed out on that. So he is not going to, he did not get to start the race. He'll have to wait until race 2 now to get his chance within the field today. And that is a shame, obviously. He's been a fighter all season, if not the fastest driver, but he's been going at it all the time. Further down the field, I'm seeing Adam Pintus here, going for McLeod and Brugman for 7th as well. And, of course, Esports WTCC driver Pintus, obviously got big talent. Campfield for YTF1, going for Taylor, who's going for Pintus as well. YTF1, a team that need results on the cusp of relegations, and, well, they kind of need to keep ahead of the other teams now. They really do need some good results. Matt Richards behind as well, a shocking result for him by my standards, I believe, from what I know of him in that MG. And Sovik, yeah, he has dropped down the order compared to qualifying pace. Lee Davidson, team owner of Epic Racing, in the comments, notes, wondering if Tyan will get a lap or two to try and get past. I would not put it past Epic Race, Edge Esports to do that there, actually, if Siggy's not getting through, although he's going for the inside down here. Strana's on the outside, won't let him through. I'd say this is Strana's for the now being, given that speed advantage for the Honda. And Tyan here, yep, Ty now, I think, is probably going to get maybe a couple of laps to try and go for Strana if Siggy can't do it. I don't think Edge is the sort of team that would deny y'all the chance if he can make it happen, although Strana here is having to defend very, very hard to go for Siggy. Is not making his life easy for the Austro-Serbian, and ultimately, Strana is pushing as hard as he can, actually, I think, to get this here, and Siggy, the Austro-Slovenian, really having to push hard. But Tyan, I think it makes sense if Siggy can't get through. Makes sense to let y'all have a go, though. He's a bit far back at the moment.
Surely they're going to let Kev get the points. That's more important.
Yeah, I mean,
especially since Jarl is only a one-off driver for this round.
Yeah, you've got to consider that too. I mean, I don't know how Edge Esports team management works, but you know, logic dictates you give the number one the priority. And well, speaking of number one, Jajovsky's still leading number one from Schmidt. Lucas Schmidt, despite his pace, has not, James, been able to catch up to Jajovsky. He still leads by 0.382.
I'm worried, actually, about the opportunities to overtake, because I'm looking at the guys that started near the back as well. The furthest up the field is Olsen in 17th. You know, these guys have not made much progress through the field, and that tells me that they're going to be more hoping for reverse grid shenanigans come race 3, because especially since it's lap 11 or 13 now, points are going to be off the card. And I'm almost back with you guys, by the way, just loading into the server now.
Wonderful stuff indeed. We're on lap 11, so it's not like you've joined too late to miss the end of this fantastic race one. You've still got a couple of laps left as, well, now he goes for it. Schmidt goes for it now, down the inside, but he's not got the preferable line. He will have to wait, or hope Jajovsky gets a bad exit out of one corner, gets a worse entrance, but he threatened it there after the long straight. He threatened it, and now he goes down the inside here after the revolve, and oh, contact, I feel! Jajovsky goes well wide. Schmidt into the lead under dubious circumstances. I'm going to have to go and have a look at that and see if there was contact, because if there was, Jajovsky is not going to be a happy massive. Oh, there was contact. There was contact. It was Jajovsky braking. Schmidt didn't brake. and then whacks the back of the Macedonian, who floors the throttle. They keep it relatively level, but he loses the place, and Schmidt, being the sportsman he is, gives it back.
Oh my goodness, that was so... I mean, he must hate ACR cars at this point, because especially that was going to be a similar situation to him and Keithley in Misano, so speaks volumes of Schmidt of a driver. If he knew he did wrong, he's giving it back at least.
Avoids a penalty that way as well. Maybe gets off with a slight warning. It's a gentleman rule. It's good sportsmanship. It's what we like to see in GPVWC for sure. And Lucas Schmidt, rightly, you know, now able to get back on track. Jajovski's tyres may have taken a beating from that though, and it's arguable whether he's gained an advantage by that incident, despite the fact he gave the position back. Although here we are on lap 12 of 13, still fighting for the lead. Asking what happened to Richards is Davidson. I don't know what happened to Richards, but he's back in 17th, and for me that's a concern given how good he is. Maybe he got involved in an incident, but nowhere near the front is Schmidt and Jajovski are tied, and Strider. Oh, here goes Tyan wide now. I'll have to check for contact there too. It was Tyan around the outside. Eric Strana. Oh no, he dropped it by himself. Got it into a slide, and he's now stuck on the back of Strana again. I thought there was contact, but there was none, as Eric Strana now finds himself under attack, and there is contact this time. Tyan barges his way through, and oh, Strana's not giving it either. He's still touching and feeling him there. Steady on, lads. It's not post-watershed yet, but Strana into the last two now, I think, has the advantage, or Dizzy, because here comes Jarl into the last corner, ahead again. Jajovski and Schmidt go on to the final lap, but I think Eric's got it now as Tyan forced to go wide, and Kevin Siggy now down to the outside of both of them. This is not, I feel, going to be a move for the lead, but yep, Tyan lifts off. Siggy is going to go for him in the last lap here, but the real focus on Jajovski and Schmidt. A 10 separates them.
Oh, I'm so close. I'm so close. It's loading in the cars.
Oh, you can't bet. Hold yourself here, man, honestly. Get a grip of yourself just for this last lap as Jajovski and Schmidt keep going at it. I mean, it's been hard for me to keep up with the amount of moves and shakes that have been going on.
Well.
I have not been in this amount of drama for a while, but it's coming back to us, ladies and gentlemen, as Strana, Siggy and Tyan all fight, but Schmidt and Jajovski still go for it. And, well, further down the field, there's still movers and shakers. We'll keep half a BDI on them, but realistically, I think the closest, I think it's starting to round itself out now, actually. Cars are getting further away again. Schmidt just can't find the ground he needs to get in front of this orange Adonis, and that's the problem that he's had all race. He had one shot, messed it up slightly, voluntary gave the place back, as would be considered nice to do, but he's not managed to have it since, unfortunately. Therein has been his issue. Therein has lied the fatal flaw in the Schmidt plan for Robert Chronic Racing. And ultimately, at the end of the day, as hard as the Swiss has tried, he has not managed to gain back the position that he gained. Round the final two then come the drivers into the last corner. That's its name and its description. And Erhan Jajovski, the Macedonian master, will master Okayama and take the race win here today in Japan. Schmidt comes a valiant second, from Strana in third, from Siggy Rubenak, from Tyan Shepherd, McGlade, Taylor, Pinces and Brugman rounding out the top 10. Kell, Campfield, Fidek, Yunt and Sovic, the final point scorer. Disappointing given his qualifying pace, but a point's a point, whichever way you slice it. Olsen 16th, Richard 17th, a very disappointing result from him. He'll want more in the other two of this round. Bell 18th, Lindbergh 19th, Muru 20th, Doherty 21st, Hemmingsen 22nd on his debut, very respectable indeed. Baldy 23rd, Willis 24th after getting caught up in drama in the first few laps. Moby 25th, Hoyer 26th, Portis 27th, Delgado 28th, and last. Ridiculous pressure on all of the drivers in the top five, and all of the podium sitters, I'd say, James, deserve their positions.
And I've given up. I'm going to restart the game. I'm salty now, but should not be salty about the excellent battle that we were treated to there. And ultimately, something which ITC needs a lot more of, I feel, a good show of sportsmanship. Schmidt could have just gone on his merry way, just been happy with, you know, being in first, but to realize a mistake in race is actually one of the most difficult things to do, because immediately, especially with all of the heightened emotions going on around you, Josh, you instantly want to point fingers at everyone else. And so it already takes a big person to admit after a race, okay, I called it wrong. You were actually, or I was actually at fault in this incident. To call it in the middle of a race and say, no, listen, I was wrong. That takes some guts. That takes a cool head as well. And so for this being my first time seeing Schmidt in action, consider me very impressed. Not just by the racecraft, but by the head as well.
Oh, yeah. Matt Richards actually saying he had a slowdown. That's why he dropped back. And that's obviously problematic there. But, yeah, obviously, you know, good sportsmanship for Schmidt. I mean, it was a fairly large knock. I mean, it was a fairly large knock. It did knock Judrowski sideways, and he had to channel his inner Takumi Fujiwara and absolutely did it through that corner. But ultimately, to give it back is right, because he kind of knows, I think, the book would have come down hard on him if he'd gone and kept that position. But as you rightly say, it's a show of character, even when it's blatant you're at fault, to give it back, because you're disadvantaging yourself voluntarily, and that's not something that most people, well, some people would do, but it's good when we see it happen, because it's the right thing, ultimately.
Strana with his 6th podium of the season.
Yeah, that's notable.
A podium for every race, and he's not been here for 1 round. Like, honestly, if this guy hadn't missed, what was the round he missed? I think it was Brands Hatch, or no, it might have been Mazzano, the round that he missed. If he hadn't missed Mazzano, I mean, he'd be in this title fight so much more comfortably than he is now. You know, he's still got so much to show, and well, obviously he'll have more to show when it comes to race 2 as well, because the grid remains as it was when it comes to the finishing order of race 1. So everyone's going to be starting from where they finished, and that means that there is still a lot of work on for the likes of Richards, for the likes of Bell, Baldy dropping back there as well. I wonder whether he got involved in an incident. Olsen too, and their objective now is to try and get inside the top 15, because otherwise they're going to be really struggling for points.
Yeah, it wasn't a fantastic round for Edge. Well, it was a great round for Edge, sorry. Not a great round for Epic, who I think now lose the team's championship lead to Edge. ACL Zaxpeed may gain a significant amount of points and overtake Enterprise as well. This is the thing with such a close team's championship. One race can change everything. Street Fight will probably be going up the order now. Drake will be going well down the order with Richards' problem. Smile Power might gain from Pintus and Bell a bit there. Adonis with Jajovski's win will close right up on Smile Power and Drake. Aurora with McGlade's result again. Further down, you don't really get as much problems, but anything can change in one race when the championship standings are this close, and that's what we're seeing within ITC. So I wouldn't want to be the standings person now. I know that's Rick Scott's job in Super League. I would not want to be standings person for this series because they change all the time.
I think you're forgetting ACR are second because of Hoyer's points.
Oh, yeah.
There is a slight mistake on the website, so it's worth noting that they were second coming into this round.
That is true, actually. They have 22 points more, so ultimately, Schmidt, they might be further up again. This is how unpredictable it is.
But then you look at the points scored, and ACR over the 2 cars only scored 20. Admittedly, that is still a good number of points to be scoring, but I don't think Epic did that badly, because both Shepard and Fidek were in the points. Edge, what were they? They were 4th and 5th, weren't they? So they were scoring 24 points. It's probably Enterprise who's been the worst out of the lot there, only scoring 6 points with Niels Brugman in P10.
Yeah, Brugman P10, obviously not the best result for him, but, you know, we know how good a driver he is, and ultimately, at the end of the day, he will push as long as he can, and he will keep going, and he's not the sort, I believe, that Niels Brugman will be deterred easily. Of course, Lars Brugman, we know from the Brugman brothers, but Niels himself has really made himself into a standout driver, I'd say. You know, we all talk about Lars Brugman, but give Niels some love too. He's just as good.
Well, to be fair as well, Niels Brugman has gained a lot of his points from race 3s. He's been one of the reverse grid heroes. He's not actually been able to take a win this season, but more times often than not, he has taken a reverse grid podium. And so it's also all about the long game for Niels Brugman, as I'm sure is going to be the game for a lot of these drivers, actually, who are outside of the points. I am finally back in the lobby, just waiting for everything to sync up finally now. Goodness me, Rfactor 2 is a cruel mistress at times, knocking me out when the action was just getting going, but I've only got 4 minutes left until until race 2. So in at the right time. And also worth reminding all of you guys at home as well, if you want more GPVWC action, to press the subscribe button and ring the bell and have a little look at the website. Maybe think about joining the Discord if you're interested in driving, if you're interested in team managing, or if you're just interested in being part of the community. Then all of the lovely links are down in the description below. And as a final reminder, as a final talking point, race 2, of course, doesn't just see the drivers finishing or starting the race in the places that they finished in race 1, but of course the weight ballast shifts as well. And so those 90 kilograms that were on board Kevin Sigi-Rebenak's car, they're going to be on Hanyovski's car. Sigi-Rebenak, of course, will still have weight ballast, but only the equivalent of where he finished. And so the top 10 from this race are going to have the heaviest cars on the grid. That said, though, will it make that much of a difference? Well, if you look at Matt Richards' car, you suggest that it might very well do in a front-wheel drive.
Yeah, Richards, obviously, you know, we saw how he went, and ultimately at the end of the day, you know, maybe it'll make difference not having weight, because more weight means more tyre wear potentially, or you have to work harder for the same speed.
Oh, it means more tyre wear, definitely.
Yeah, I look at Erhan Jajovski now, who now has, well, I'd say a me, but this is probably a me from 10 years ago in his car right now. That's going to cause problems with the tyre wear in a car that's already got problems with tyre wear. He's probably going to have a very bad time of it this round, but if he can do well, that's what he'll be looking at in that bright orange Adonis Engineering car. And that's another thing I've really liked about this season of ITC. Not just the driving, not just the teams and the cars, but the kaleidoscope of colour we have as well. I mean, I see a lot of tribute liveries here as well, ultimately as well. You know, I mean, I look at that epic car, clearly inspired by something out of Super GT. Very colourful car there. And you know, you look at the YTF1s, which looks like an old Nissan of some description. And you look at all these other cars that have got these inspirations and tributes as well. Some teams flying usual colours, some teams prominent sponsors, some teams just going for whatever they feel is very good. I mean, the only colour that's missing is pink, really.
Oh, that's a shout out to the old. Actually, no, there is a pink car in ITC Division 2. Yeah. It's running the same scheme that Vodball did back in 2016. So good on them, driving for charity, which is always an excellent course.
Of course.
But yes, maybe we do need more pink and purple. Where's the old Epic? Oh, you know, it was the Epic from 2015 where they went Neo 70s.
Oh, I think I remember that.
That was a brilliant livery. To be fair,
2015 was a good year for liveries, especially for Chevrolet Cruisers.
Oh, yeah, very much so. To be fair, Epic and Stax have always put forward some very nice liveries. Shout out to Christian Zorner, to Doug Hilliard, to all of the wonderful livery designers out there in the league, by the way, making the cars look pretty and better than real life.
Yeah, from a personal perspective, Matthew Allington as well, team owner of YTF1. Yes. He's done our cars for pretty much the last couple of years. I think mainly because I've been going to him, obviously, because he's been getting so good. He's been able to make these fantastic cars. And don't forget that YTF1, which I just said was so good, he did, I believe.
Yes, inspired by the Nissan Primera from
99, I believe, and 98. That sort of era of super touring.
That's where I remember the 8 from. It's 1998.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of people who are getting their names in terms of designing now in these cars, it's just phenomenal. You know, the great talents are coming over to Esports and Simracing and, you know, showing teams colours as they need. And yeah, we need, as you rightly said before, we need more pink going on. Maybe I'll throw a team in for 2019. We might not get Division 1, but they'll be pink.
You know, it's one thing which I feel is missing from the top level of e-racing, honestly, is you don't see many actual teams repping their colours. If you understand what I mean. I mean, there are some games with livery editors, but more often than not, you're stuck with stock liveries, and I'm hoping that the scene picks up on it, because I think the teams are as big a thing in e-racing as the drivers and the personalities that go into them. I mean, you look at F1, people support teams, I would argue, much more than drivers. So,
heck yeah. I mean, I definitely want every single race I go at, I want Kimi Räikkönen to win it. And that's not just because he's a Ferrari driver. If he drove for Blum and Force India, it'd be the same. Hell, I'd even like him more, because more pink.
Sauber next year.
Next year, there you go. Alfa Romeo Sauber, get them winning. But, you know, it's good to see all the colours. It is, and I'm sure it'll be a very colourful start of race 2 as we head down to the grid once more. Of course, we know what the results are. We know what the grid's going to be. It's exactly the same as how the cars ended the first race. And, well, already we're getting support for Div 2 2019 champions from Lee Davidson of Epic Racing. I really hope so. But, yeah, Matthew Allington as well, saying he likes the colours, although it wasn't good in a livery this time, that YTF1. I do tell a slight lie, but it'll be a very colourful start to the race 2 here in Okayama as we once again get ready to go off on our formation lap. So, Mr. James Cake, do take it away.
That was a lot to say, wasn't it? Johan Jojowski then will lead us off for the second time tonight on pole position, albeit his car has, let me count, 81 more kilograms than it did just 15 minutes ago. So a bigger challenge on for the Macedonian. He leads Lucas Schmidt, so it is very much the same front row as we started with in race 1. Strana and Siggy Rebenak line up on row 2 with Tyen and Shepard on row 3 behind him. It's then the British duo of McGlade and Taylor. Taylor, by the way, what a fantastic race he had from outside of the points to P8. That's a brilliant drive, very Brands Hatch-esque of him. And those two are ahead of Adam Pinches and Niels Brugman in the 2 Vauxhall Astras. We then have Dan Kell. It's another British row completed by Adrian Campfield. It's a British trio, actually. David Feidick there in P13 ahead of David Junt, who scored points for CM Tech.
Yay, points!
Oh, goodness me, I didn't even notice that. There we go.
You did. Points
First points of the season for CM Tech.
Yay!
Huzzah, no team with 0 points. That is a reason to celebrate. And actually, Scott Cervix scoring a point as well, although he'll be hoping to more stay within that top 15 now. Hope for a little bit of lady luck to shine his way when it comes to the race 3 reverse grid pole position. Tobias Olsen actually did pretty well to get just outside the points. His task will be a little bit easier in comparison to race 1. Matt Richards is going to be there with him in P17, as will Mike Bell in P18. Lindberg and Muru round out the top 20. And then we've actually gained a driver since race 1. Oh no, it was Tyrone Frith, wasn't it? Because he didn't take part in race 1. The rest of the grid is lined up by Doherty, Hemmingson, Baldy, who will probably be the most disappointed out of the lot of drivers. Actually, no, that's a lie. Willis, Morby, and then we come to Hoyer, who will also be disappointed. So ACR and Enterprise with one car not scoring in race 1. Potters, Delgado, and Frith round out your 29 drivers. So yeah, big pressure on Hoyer and on Baldy to try and force their way into at least points. Because otherwise the likes of Epic, the likes of Edge, they're going to be running away with it.
They are, yes, and when you consider the team standings, which have been very kindly given the top 5, Jeffrey Vaughan in the comments, quick maths, Jeff, with the technical standings, Edge have edged Epic. They're ahead by 1 point, so every point does count now, as, well, I see Frith is going to be one of the last cars to cross the line here. He's ahead of Delgado, actually, who he should be behind, but he's going to sort that out now as they come to the grid, and Delgado lines up too. Winner for this race? Oh, I don't know, after that first round. Possibly, maybe Schmidt lucky second this time, but either way, they're all here and we're ready to go.
Let's do this. Okayama race 2 is coming up with the red lights illuminating above us. The engine revs will rise. And we're racing here in Japan for the second time this evening. And it's a storm of a start for Kevin Siggy Rebenak. Look at that. He's jumped an entire row pretty much. And he's going to go on the inside of Eric Strana as well for good measure. As we head through the first corner, Jojowski emerges unscathed. A bit of door banging there between the Swede and the Australian as that's massive contact further back. Richards is involved. And who was also involved in that? It's Muru.
And Yon in the CM Tech, Roundamuru in the TTF. That is all sorts of cars off there. I'm going to go back and see what happened, actually. Muru was on the inside of it all, and, oh, it was actually Richards and Yunt ahead. Something happened. Oh, I think Yunt just pushed... Yunt actually was pushing Richards a bit wide. He had to. Richards came in, and the car went up. Yunt got tipped straight into the wall. Nothing the Swiss could have done. Richards then, nothing, no way for him to be avoided by... Bell gets away with it, but it's the other CM. That's actually one of the idol. Yep, that was Sovic who knocked Richards in amongst all that, and somehow Muru got involved. Morby and Willis had a bit of a couple of
massive crash, massive crash further up. Chris Shepherd had a screen freeze, and he screen freezed right in the middle of the track. And that was,
out of the way, though. That was,
I tell you what, Adam Taylor ran through him like a snowplow. I am sorry to come in over there, but this has been a hectic lap 1, where, by the way, Jarl Tyen was on the inside of Luke Schmidt, banging doors, the two of them. We will go back and digest that.
Doherty's had problems as well. He's gone wrong with Hemmingson as well. They've had to come together. Young narrowly misses the both of them. Carnage on lap 1 and Okayama race 2 here. As everyone, it seems, wants to be a part of the action. But, yeah, Shepard's trying to get through now. Chris Shepherd cannot pretend he has clean pants after that, because I know he hasn't. But he is, Doherty out with suspension failure. Shepherd has now got the run of his life to get back into it, but Kevin Siggy Rebenak, the big winner, as he dives down the inside of Jajovski now, but doesn't quite have the leverage. Yeah,
okay, so let's go through the order as it stands now. So it's Jajovski from Siggy Rebenak, Strana, Schmidt, Tyen, Taylor. I cannot believe Taylor got through that. He might have had a damaged rear bumper, but Niels Brugman was a big winner. He's up to P7. McGlade pinches Dan Kell. Round out the top 10 is here goes Kevin down the inside of Jajovski. Brakes super late. And just about his rear end touches the front of Jajovski, and the Oslo Slovenian takes the lead of this race. He has been rapid in these opening stages, and he's making it count as further back. Taylor and Brugman still going side by side. Let's look at further down the order. Let's see who else benefited. So Campfield, Fidek, 11th and 12th. And then, yes, some of the guys who were starting further back, they really did benefit. Olsen up to 13th. Baldy into the points in 14th, and Cervic has been able to stay inside the top 15. Lindbergh just outside there in P16. Mitchie Hoyer as well, P17. So these drivers who thought that they'd have a tough task on their hands to get into the points, they have been gifted positions here today. End of, can you believe it? We're just going on to lap 3 of 13. Lap 3 of 13. What a crazy start to this race it has been. Kevin Siggy Rebenak continuing to extend that lead, and as predicted, Josh, Jajovski is beginning to struggle with those 90 kilos.
He is, yeah, really struggling. And speaking of struggling, McGlade's got a job on here, trying to keep Pinces ahead of him. Keller's trying to keep Campfield ahead, so both of Rora's in trouble here. Pinces gets ahead of McGlade, actually. So Lulu gets put down into P9 by Adam Pinces there, who will now try and defend in that Vauxhall Astra from the Civic. And Kell being challenged by Campfield. Strada in all sorts of trouble as well. He's being challenged by Jajovski and Tyen at the same time. He's got two to deal with. And
Eric Strana's ahead of Tyen. Sorry, Strana's attacking Jajovski is what I'm trying to say.
Jarl has got the momentum though, and that's what I'm going to be thinking as he goes down the outside. And there is no way on God's green earth he was ever going to make that one work with that much of a slide on. But Eric's pushing, he's pushing Erhan as hard as he can, and Erhan's not going to want this. It's going to put him further away from Rebenak, and that's going to give Kevin Siggy Rebenak the lead that he needs. And, well, Adam Taylor, with the rate he's moving here, could get into second, I actually believe, as he makes slight contact with Schmidt.
Yeah, I was going to say we've got a very similar situation. And sorry, Tyen through. Look at that. Tyen through on Eric Strana up the hill there. And so he's into third. Similar situation developing here with Lucas Schmidt in P5. He's got Taylor and Brugman for company, both looking a heck of a lot faster than him at this stage. Look how defensive Jajovski is looking to go. Edge Esports, after taking the lead of the championship through race 1, I tell you what, they're staring down the barrel of a 1-2 here if things go well.
Yeah, they've got their hand firmly grasped on it. They just need to get the other one here if they can just get past Jajovski. But Eric Strada, I tell you this, the Swede does not want this to happen. He wants P2 for himself here. Taylor wants a crack at it. Schmidt wants a crack at it. This is very much open to all comers here. Tyen looks down the inside, but it ain't going to happen just yet. Eric Strana is going to have the advantage down the back straight because that front-wheel drive Honda has got the advantage in terms of straight-line speed. This is turning into a nice, I'd say it was a train, but it's more of a night Riviera here as they all pile into the right hand here. Got him. And Tyen looks to have it here. Just get him under brakes and not mess up contact between the two. And that is Tyen's position. Now Strana is going to be the next to strike.
Goodness me, Edge Esports. Oh my goodness. 45 points would be rather nice indeed. They are how many laps now? 8 laps? 8 laps away from securing that. Not that far. And what they've got to do now is... Yuyovski is clearly struggling. So clearly struggling, as he did in race 2 at Zhuhai. They need to run away now. Kevin Siggy Rebnak has bolted. He's 2.8 seconds ahead of Tyen. Tyen needs to follow suit as Yuyovski continues to hold up Strana. And indeed his teammate now, Adam Taylor, who's gotten past Lucas Schmidt. And now it's down to Niels Brugman. Niels Brugman lining up a move on the Swiss driver into turn 1.
No, he's thought better of it.
And no, Schmidt is going to keep on. I tell you what, Brugman's got to be careful and he's got to make the move now because Adam Pinches has become the 3rd driver in this train. Lewis McGlade quite close as well. Kell in P10. And remember, these positions from 10th to 15th, so crucial because those are the reverse grid pole position potential places that we're talking about. Kell, Feider, Campfield, Baldy, Olsen, Lindberg, all drivers who would very much love to be up at the sharp end of things when it comes to race 3.
Yeah, if they can be up the sharp end, they'll have as much chance of a good result as anyone else will. Strana and Yuyovski really fighting out for 3rd now. Tyen's starting to pull away a bit, which is why Strana is going to shoot for Yuyovski down the inside of the corner here. Neither's going to give any quarter to the other, and Strana's going to get the better exit. Yuyovski forced to yield. That weight is starting to hurt him a bit here. He's going to try and get through, but Strana's lighter car is ultimately going to pay the difference here. And Adam Taylor, Yuyovski's teammate with a much lighter car, is behind here. I wonder if there's going to be any team owners in Adonis.
I very much doubt that. I very much doubt that, especially given Yuyovski's personality. He is not one to move out the way if he can help it. He might see Taylor behind and he might think, okay, it's not worth me holding up my teammate's race for the sake of my own. Because, I mean, let's be fair. Adonis, as I said at the beginning of this broadcast, Josh, they are still in with a chance of maybe going for top 3 in the team's championship. They need to make these points count now while they're having a good time of it.
Yep, Taylor around the outside here. I think Yuyovski might be suffering from the weight, or maybe he's lifting slightly because Taylor, significant advantage. Remember, Taylor's the one who has a chance at the drivers here.
Oh, what's Pinches doing?
What is
Goodness me, that's a late braking maneuver, but he's made it stick. That's outstanding car control from Adam Pinches. Completely catches Niels Brugman napping.
That is, I've just gone back and looked at it. That takes serious cojones to do that. But from Adam Pinches, who's an Esports WTCR driver, I would have expected nothing less. But to pull it into turn 1, he caught me off guard. That was a stunner from Pinches there. And Niels Brugman is going to be feeling a little incensed, I think, that he let that happen. He's going to try and get his revenge here while Lucas Schmidt starts to pull away and go for Yuyovski. Schmidt not going to be in for the win, I don't think, but definitely in for the top 3 if he can keep this pace up. Brugman to the outside. Pinches to the inside, both crisscross over each other. No position going to happen now, but this train just keeps on getting bigger as we go to Campfield. Baldy Lindberg is all the way down to 15 from 3rd. We've got this going on now. This is a huge one.
And you got to worry, one incident might catch a lot of drivers out with all of these drivers being so close. The top 15, that's right, you heard, the top 15 are separated by 10 seconds. As, oh my goodness me, what is Lindberg doing there? Lindberg just ran Baldy off the road.
Oof. Well,
that was outstandingly poor driving, actually.
Johan Lindberg, it was into the 3rd to last. But no, actually Campfield. I think you're getting your YTF1s mixed up.
Oh yeah,
there.
My apologies. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, Campfield around the outside. Oh yeah, he left it very left, basically no room there for Baldy. And he was on the Baldy had to brake and gone wide, gets off the outside of Lindberg. And Campfield, I think maybe slight spatial awareness failure there from the YTF1 driver, but that is going to be a point of contention for Gergo Baldy, I think. Maybe the Enterprise Pulsar's driver might have a thing or two to say to the DC after that one.
Back up to the front. And it is still Johan Yuyovski holding on. But Lucas Schmidt is coming under increasing pressure here from Adam Pinches, who continues to move his way up the order very nicely indeed. Look at this, immediately onto the back of the Swiss driver. Is he going to launch and move into the hairpin? Schmidt goes very defensive, actually.
Yeah, he's got so defensive, in fact, he's got a massive run of speed, which I feel... Yeah. Oh, well, he doesn't. Keeps it parked nicely. I thought he was going to run wide there.
Good driving.
Callan Feidek behind. Contact slight from Feidek. Not afraid to get his elbows out in that epic car. Olsen behind as well in P12 here. Keeping Campfield behind him. And this sort of Strana, Olsen, top and tail on this train here. Although Kell goes well. Is Kell just...
I think Kell's disconnected.
Kell is just... No, actually.
Oh.
Kell is...
That's a screen freeze again.
Yeah,
at the same place as Shepherd.
I was about to say, he went left into the barrier, and he got tagged, actually, by one of the ACRs after resuming, so that's unfortunate. That would have been Hoyer who tagged him. Nothing Mitchy could have done there to avoid that, obviously, if you're coming back on after a screen freeze, but at the end of the day, Cal loses out there. Pincher's going to look for Schmidt down the inside of one. He's done this before. He's got the bravery to do it again.
Look at the brakes on that.
But he's
Smile
got
power.
this time. Schmidt's going to try and go to the outside, but he's got the line. He's got the preferable line, and it's worked for him. And Pincers makes it work again. He's the turn one master this time around.
That's lovely driving from Adam Pinches. He has come under a lot of fire, it must be said, from a couple of drivers for debatable racecraft. But you know what? When you can pull off moves like that, I wonder what there is to complain about. It's late, I know. It's dynamic, I know. But it's also within the rules. And it's beautiful to watch at home as well. And indeed from our perspective here in our spectator cameras. Looking further up the order. Is that a move there further up for Taylor and Strana? No, I'm imagining things. I'm just looking at the train now.
Not quite.
Basically being... It's Pinches who's got... It's the Schmidt train now at this point, isn't it? Brugman, McGlade, Fidek, Olsen, Campfield, Lindbergh, Baldy's back in the hunt as well. I'm actually, again, in a similar vein to Taylor, I'm feeling very happy for Mitchy Hoyer as well, because that could have been nasty for him, getting caught up in an incident which was more of a technical failure than anything.
Yeah, I think you're right in saying, ultimately, technical failure for, Kel there to go around as well. But, yeah, this train you're talking about, this sort of Schmidt and Baldy train here, Schmidt really pulling everyone else around, ultimately, and they're all chasing Lucas Schmidt, not really each other, because he's the one at the head of this all. But Pincers, Jajovski, Taylor and Strana working in short form here as well to try and work together too. Ty and Siggy obviously running away with it at the front. Nothing can be done to stop them at the moment.
Whoa! Olsen, sorry! Olsen used David Fidek as a bus stop there.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, I tell you what, if Tobias Olsen's using David Fidek as buffers now, that's just, well, oh yeah, he did, yep, used them as the buffers, used them to slow it down. That's not exactly what David Fidek's going to want. That's going to possibly alter the rear bumper's position a bit. I mean, it's not what we want to see. Overtaking into any corner is fine as long as you don't play bowling balls with the cars there. But, as long as it's the point where you start using cars as buffers, I start thinking maybe start to apply the brakes a bit more.
Meanwhile, up at the front, the Edge Esports cars are having a nice drive around this circuit. 4.7 seconds clear as Kevin Sigi-Rebenak of Tyen. 4 seconds clear as Tyen of Strana as Pinches.
Oh, he's made it work into that corner there, into the big tight one. How does he do it? How does he do it? He's a top-class driver and Pinches, but even I don't know how he does it there. Fantastic stuff from him in the Smile Power car there, and very brightly coloured Smile Power car, of course known for their brightly coloured cars.
It wouldn't be a smile if it wasn't brightly coloured.
Yeah, it also wouldn't be a smile without a jokey sponsor on there. I see Mike Bell's opened his own surgery now.
Remind me never to hire his services for surgery.
Yeah, possibly not the best in the world, but...
But driving's a different matter. Surgery?
Yeah, driving's a different matter, as Pinches is proving here in P5. We'll say that much. We'll say that much. And we'll find out we're going to make moves as well, going for Lewis McGlade by the looks of it.
He's had a quiet race, Lewis McGlade, but he's still making it work well. A reminder, the reverse grid pole position is determined by a randomly selected number between 10 and 15. And so Lewis McGlade currently, you'd argue, is actually in the second to best possible position, although David Fidek is rather eager to take that away from him, dynamically moving to the outside of turn 4 there. Not going to work, but he will have the undercut. And watch out for Tobias Olsen as well there in P11. Going to be watching brief, going to be picking up a lot of slipstream. And you can immediately see that David Fidek's just got a little lip of his car there on the inside of Lewis McGlade. There's not really much that the Englishman can do on the outside. There is a lot that the Englishman can do on the inside, however. David Fidek moves his way through into P9, and for Lewis McGlade now, he needs to be careful, needs to stop Tobias Olsen from going around the outside. Does so with aplomb.
Yeah, don't expect for a minute that Tobias Olsen is going to give up any form of pace here. Self-admittedly all-or-nothing driver. If he's not pushing 100%, he's not racing at all, and don't expect him to give McGlade a break either. We know how good the Swede can be when he's absolutely on top of it. everything that's in hand, but McGlade, as we know, tough customer, especially when he's under pressure. So Olsen's going to have to work hard for this if he wants it now, and he's going to really need to find an opening and exploit it as much as possible, almost pushing McGlade around the final corner. That's how hard he's taking it at the moment in that Red Bull Street Fighter. Is he going to do a Pinches into turn one? I suspect not. He's not been as good on the brakes. But he is going to try actually into one, and he makes it stick at the end of the day. But if McGlade gets a better run through here, it'll be for naught. Although I suspect, Olsen has it from here. Great move from the Swede. Does exactly what he needed to do. Runs a bit wide, but of little consequence as he does take P10. I'm looking at Brugman on Schmidt. That's not going to work this time around. But Taylor and Strana now getting closer for P3.
Good spot. I didn't spot that. And they are indeed pinches as well, pulling well wide as Yayovsky's really starting to struggle now. And Brugman looking the fastest of the three here. Brugman going to the outside of Schmidt. We've seen a couple of moves of this style going into the hairpin. Although look at that, Brugman in slowing up so much has just allowed David Feiduk a free entrance through into the hairpin. Because of the nature of the corners, Brugman is going to remain in P8, but that was bizarre from Brugman to stop up so much as Schmidt goes for the inside of Yayovsky. It doesn't work. He runs wide, and this is... Yep, that's Brugman's, surely. That's his position for the taking. Into P7, the Dutchman goes. Schmidt's going to try and hold on around the outside to no avail as Feiduk and Olsen go into battle behind as well. Look, contact between Olsen and Schmidt ahead, who's slow from Brugman ahead of him. It's all kicking off here in the midfield. Lap 11, lap 12 of 13. It is so close. There's McGlade up the inside of Feiduk. Great racing.
Look at this. We've got Campfield, McGlade, Feiduk, Olsen, Schmidt. It's a Honda party up in here at ITC at the moment. And it's the Vauxhalls who are trying to crash it. But ultimately, Campfield now, he can't make this inside. He's going for the inside. He gives no quarter. Adrian Campfield straight in front of McGlade. Lindbergh wants to go through too. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But Feiduk, Schmidt, Olsen all going for 8. Brugman, Yayovsky for 6th as well. This has suddenly become the most ram-packed ITC battle I've seen in years.
And it's not over yet. You've got to watch out for Brugman. He wants more. He's on the back of Erhan Yayovsky. Reminder, this is lap 12 of 13, penultimate lap, so time very much of the essence for a lot of these moves if they want to stick off. And look at Yayovsky and Brugman already. Brugman on the inside of Yayovsky, and I think that one's a done deal as well. Into the hairpin. Yayovsky's going to try and break late, but Brugman surely is going to have the inside line. He is through into P6, and that might be... Olsen giving... a bit of an elbow into the side of Yayovsky. Yayovsky staying ahead for now, but look at the cutback from Olsen into the revolver on the exit. Well, the revolver, well known for coming out in the order that you came in, provides a bit of a surprise, a bit of a misfire, you could say. Olsen through into P7, a brilliant move from the Swedish driver there. Behind, Feiduk and McGlade round out the top 10. Campfield going for a crazy lunge into Redmond there. Still in P11, Lindbergh. Schmidt down to 13th in all of this, trying to hold off Gergo Baldi for what is going to be the final lap of this race.
Yeah, we got so embroiled in this battle, we didn't even realise Siggy was on the last lap. That's ITC 2018 for you. Pinches and Taylor as well going for it for 4th as well. Adam Pinches, we know how good he is in turn 1. Taylor can do nothing to stop him as he just charges through, takes the inside line, and is assuming he's fast enough through here. This will be Pinches' corner, and it is. There you go. Into 4th goes the smile car. Not bad at all. And we got this whole shenaniganly battle going through here. Schmidt and Baldi going for a hammer and tongs. Hoyer wants in on the action. Sovik being ran wide partially and loses out to Kel and Bell. It's a double L disaster for Scott Sovik here. Yund and Moore are going for it as well. It's all
my goodness.
Round
ACR hit each other. Actually, how on earth did that work? How on earth did that work? Hoyer used...
Feiduk ahead. Feiduk hit Jajovsky, and he went round. McGlade was behind. Lindbergh, they managed to avoid each other, but Hoyer used Schmidt as a buffer to get himself into the corner.
Oh my god, they both outbraked themselves.
Oh dear, it's both wheel slip.
Oh my god.
Oh my lord, someone invested in ABS.
That was dancing on ice. Goodness me, both of them sliding off in sympathy.
Both sliding off. Kevin Siggy has no problem though, does he? He's going to win it.
Yep, round the final corner, we can laugh, we can shout, we can be excited all we want. He had a clean race, he had a fantastic start, and he is come home leagues above the rest. It is Kevin Siggy Rebenak's 5th win of this ITC season, further extending his championship lead, and it's an Edge Esports 1-2. After taking the lead of the teams in race 1, they hammer home the pointers farther back.
Struggling big time. Hoyer and Morby getting involved. Kel's getting on through both of them to get the final point. That's what happens when you battle it out. Schmidt 14th, Hoyer 16th. ABS failure cost ACR that one, and Dad Kel, the luckiest son of a gun in the Aurora camp today.
I almost wet myself from how scared I was. I almost wet myself.
The voice, and I'm still got a race to go.
Right, let's go through the rest of the order. Strana, sorry, so Tyen picks up his first podium of the season. Yay, Tyen. Strana picks up his 7th podium of the season. 2 podiums in a row. That's crazy consistency. Pinch is 4th after a tremendous drive. That was outstanding from Adam Pinches. Taylor 5th, continuing his brilliant evening. Olsen, Brugman, McGlade, Campfield, and Lindbergh round out the top 10. And Lindbergh begins our potential pole sitters for race 3. Yojovski, Fiduk, Baldy, Schmidt, and Kel sneaking in at the death to secure his spot in the draw. The rest of your finishes were Hoyer, Morby, Bell, Cervic, Yunt, Willis, Muru, Potters, Richards. Richards P24, by the way, another disaster round for him. Delgado, Shepard, of course, after that massive technical issue. Hemmingson, Frith, Doherty was your only retirement with suspension damage. Oh.
I just want to go through that last half a lap again. Hoyer had to use Schmidt as a brake. Schmidt then had to use Hoyer as a brake. The 2 ACRs just both slowing down massively. Tyre wear, I've got to assume, was the contributory factor.
Oh, it had to be.
And then Hoyer, I think Morby catches up to Hoyer. Hoyer then goes down the inside. Morby gets to the inside. Hoyer tries to go to the right, but makes slight contact with Morby, goes across the nose of them. Hoyer then runs Morby wide. Kel goes through on both of them. And I think Morby's not going to be very happy after that for sure. He'll be going to the DC. But Mitchie Hoyer just deflated massively on that last lap, ran out of the points, and Kel got the massive advantage.
That was pretty hilarious. I'm surprised ACR actually came home with 1 car in the points, because I thought that they were both heading straight into the barrier down at the hairpin. Fair play to both of them, keeping it on the track. But goodness me, that's the flip side of not having team orders. We know Mike Pittman well. He's happy to let his drivers race. And then that happens. Not only did Hoyer hit Schmidt, but both of them, because they were battling too hard, went off in sympathy with each other. So hopefully for Schmidt's case, he gets the reverse grid luck. To be fair, though,
yeah,
percentages, I know that it's an equal chance for every number, but the idea is the higher up you are, it doesn't really matter what the reverse grid number is. You're going to be guaranteed a spot at the front, which is why Johan Lindbergh is in that best position.
Supposedly that's, equal, but realistically, if you consider it as 6 separate draws, Lindbergh's in 6 of the draws, Jajovski in think of it as tombola tickets. Lindbergh's got 6 tickets, Jajovski has 5 tickets, Fidek 4, Baldy 3, Schmidt 2, Kel 1. Everyone has an equal chance of getting a ticket drawn. It's 1 in 15 or whatever the numbers come up to, but ultimately, because Lindbergh's got more fingers in the pie than more people, he's more likely to come out with it.
Whew, goodness me. Okay, I tell you what, Zuhai was criticised, potentially some just reasons. Okayama is providing. I mean, it is a very similar atmosphere to Poznan, actually, where people are having to worry about the tyres. And I know that some drivers don't like that. They want to be pushing 100%. But having to keep an eye on the tyres brings so much more intrigue and strategy, where you see people having to save, where you see people like Schmidt, like Yujovski, when you have maximum weight ballast, struggling so much.
Yeah, really, really struggling here. And, well, going into the server for race 3 now, we'll soon learn what the magic tennis ball number is going to be for race 3 reverse grid. Of course, remember, 10 to 15 in, so could be anyone from them. And, well, if race 1 was good, race 2 was more chaotic but better, I don't think my vital organ that is situated somewhat in the middle of my chest cavity will be functional at the end of this third race. If it's going to be that exciting.
We're going to have to function, Josh. We're going to have to find... I tell you what.
Someone call the paramedics in advance, just in case.
I've got my big 2-litre bottle of water. I bring this to me with every broadcast I do at home, and I'm going to be taking a swish now, because... Yeah, we need it.
I think we need it. I like to divide it into a couple of 500s myself. It's better weight distribution.
Right.
Actually, I'm such a hardcore racer. I care about my weight distribution in life as well as on the track.
So, now comes possibly the most tense point of the evening, where we await that reverse grid number. I'm gonna run you through the order again, Josh, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on who you would like to see on pole position. Not what would make the most interesting race. Who would you like to see?
Well, to be honest, I would like to see Mike Bell on pole, but it's not going to happen. So
very true. So here's your options to choose from: Limburg, Yayovsky, Fiduk, Baldy, Schmidt, and Kell.
I think the interesting quantity would be if Dan Kell got pole.
I agree.
I've had him in races before, and he has stormed the field. And he's got a good start. Especially
after that finish, after taking the final point on the final home straight. Imagine getting reverse grid pole position from that. That'd be crazy good.
It would be, and this is going to be pushing the memories of a lot of people. It would ultimately be, I believe, I don't even remember. There was a Portuguese driver who got all the reverse grid poles a while ago. It would be that level of luck if he got it. But I want to see it happen. I really want to see it happen, because if Dan Kell gets pole, if he hits it in race 3 and he gets pole, he can be the best. Up there with the best of them, for sure. I know I say that about a lot of drivers, but it's about taking opportunities that happen. And like racing is about chances. You need to get a chance, run with a chance, and take that chance towards victory and beyond, because that's how winners are made. It's getting opportunities and making the most of them. And as the penalties are applied, and it is Lindbergh. So ultimately, It's the bottom of the barrel. Ultimately, it is the least denominator, the smallest possible one. So any movements to shake us down from 17th didn't matter anyway, because Johan Lindbergh, the Swede with all the fingers in the pies, does get pole after all.
And do you want to have a guess who's in the top 4 again?
Oh, you'd have to tell us.
Niels Brugman.
Oh, wow.
He keeps on doing it. I don't know how. Right, so this is your front 2 rows then. You've got Lindbergh and Campfield. It is a YDF1 front row for race 3 here in Okayama. That is massive for them. If they're able to translate that into a good result, considering where they were in the teams championship going into this round, could be huge. And then it's McGlade and Brugman on row 2. These two have had some interesting battles in the past, let's say that much. And behind them, it's Olsen and Taylor. But that is as exciting a front 3 rows as I think we potentially could have gotten.
The prospect of a Lindbergh Campfield front row, I don't know whether to be scared, because I know that Adrian's going to absolutely hammer it with that 15 kilos. And so is Lindbergh with his 9. I don't know whether this is going to be a YTF 1-1-2 all of a sudden.
I doubt it'll be a YDF 1.
It's a long shot, but this is ITC. We've seen stranger things happen.
This is ITC. I mean, looking at that front 3 rows, if I was to put my money on anyone, it would be one of the 3 drivers behind him. I'm looking at McGlade, Brugman, Olsen. I realize Brugman hasn't won a race this season, but from his performances in race 3, you would say he's potentially due a win at some point. Of course, McGlade, he won race 3 in Brands Hatch. Olsen has picked up a race win himself. Let me just go and double check when that was. I get the impression it was in France, I want to say. France race 3.
Possibly.
It was France race 3. There you go.
Points for James for getting it correct.
So
I'm not surprised.
2 race 3 winners and one of the most consistent drivers in race 3.
Well, consistency, that's the thing. You need that consistency sometimes to just be able to get these results. And Well, let's hope consistency comes to the drivers in this race 3. I mean, looking at the top 10 then, Lindbergh, Campfield, McGlade, Brugman, it's the top 10 reversed. You look at Lewis McGlade, 21 kilograms, the third lightest car, starting third. That's a better recipe for success than he's had in these last 2 races. But then you look at Niels Brugman, who's been impressive too. I'd say, if I had to put my money on anyone, I was wrong to go McGlade in the first race.
Yes.
I don't think I'm wrong to go McGlade in the third.
He is the curveball.
He is the ultimate curveball. You never know.
Oh, no. There is another curveball.
Oh.
Misano, race 1.
Ah, yes.
Jack Keithley, after contact with Iofsky, we discussed this, audience, earlier in the evening. A penalty saw him lose that win to Adrian Campfield.
Yes, Campfield, of course.
Campfield has been a race winner.
Who, you know, you call him lucky, but it takes skill to get even a second.
You say lucky.
Yeah, that's
he's only scored points 4 times this season. The last of his point scores was that win in Misano race 1. Since then, 5 retirements, 3 non-scores. He has not finished higher than 19th before this evening, of course.
Yeah, the thing is with Campfield, it does seem like he's very on or off. He's either, yes, I'm absolutely hammering it, I'm going to finish in the top 3, or he doesn't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's a lot like 2016 Tobias Olsen in that sense. Obviously, Tobias has matured and grown like a nice vintage cheddar in that sense. But ultimately, Campfield is a bit of hit and miss, and that has come back to bite him this season. But when he's on it, he is on it. Do not get me wrong. He is absolutely one to behold when he's on form. But it's just finding that form that's been his problem in ITC this season.
Lindbergh, of course, I remember him strongly in Poznan, actually, where he got a very good draw in race 3 there as well, and ended up coming home 4th in that particular one. In fact, the race 3 after that, race 3 in France, he picked up a podium. But it's a very similar situation to Campfield, where after that 3rd position in France, race 3, he's had a bit of a terrible time. Only 1 point score since then, a 14th in China race 2. So I think these two very much have the potential to do well. It's just a question of whether they've got the consistency to do well. And I'm looking at McGlade. His experience is unmatched. In Zhuhai, he hit 150 ITC races, the most experienced man by far in this field. You look at Olsen, pure raw speed right from the beginning of his career. He has gotten a lot better in terms of consistency over the years, but he's still not potentially as good as he could have been up until Japan. 4 retirements in the last 5 races. But then you look at Brugman, who is Mr. Consistency. If you put him in race 3, he's more than likely going to get a good result. It is all poised rather beautifully indeed for what should be an excellent race 3. A race 3 which is going to be starting very soon. 13 laps, the final 13 laps on the board. And we'll take you through your grid very soon. But you're going to stick with your McGlade choice, are you, Josh? Do you think he's going to take the win today?
I wouldn't say it if I didn't think he had a chance. I think there's a certain chance that he will take another win here. And he's from 3rd on the grid. 3rd's good. He's got a lighter car than Brugman, Olsen, Taylor, Pinsestrana, Tyan, and Siggy. You're looking at only lighter cars on the 2 in front of him and the rest behind. And that starts from Jujovski in 11. So realistically, unless someone like Schmidt or Baldy has an absolute flyer, gets through and then challenges for the lead, I think going to be between McGlade and maybe Lindbergh and Campfield to really challenge for it. But Brugman, Olsen be there, but I still stick with the Lulu.
Hey, let's talk about Edge Esports as well, of course, because both of them now have not only maximum weight ballast, but they're starting further back in the field. And goodness me, those Subarus struggle to get through the field on a good day. So as much as they've had a 1-2 in race 2, might be worth erring on the side of caution when it comes to race 3. Let's take you through your grid anyway. It's going to be an exciting one. It's Lindbergh on pole position ahead of Adrian Campfield, a wide the F1 front row ahead of McGlade and Brugman. Olsen is going to round out the top 5. We then have the 2 Adams, Taylor and Pinches, followed up by Strana, Tyen and Kevin Siggy Rebenak. Behind them, it is a bunch of fast guys that might look at the guys ahead of them on big weight ballast and think, hey, here's our prey for this race. Yojovski, of course, our pole sitter for the last 2 races. Fiduk, Baldy, Schmidt, who was on the front row for the last 2 races. Kell, who nipped in at the end to score a point in race 2. And then behind him, to round out the top 20, we've got Hoyer, Morby, Bell, Cervic, and Yunt. And rounding out our grid, we have lost 2, unfortunately. So it's only a grid of 27 this race. We've got Muru, Potters, Richards, and Shepherd starting all the way back there. Hemmingson, Frith, and Doherty rounds out your grid.
Interesting stuff indeed. This is going to be a real tight one, I think, for these midfield drivers and top end of the top end drivers. We saw how close it can get. I think it's going to be even closer in race 3 because obviously that reverse grid comes into it too. And, well, Lindbergh, Campfield, they're going to be 2 nervous YTF1 drivers as they come round the final couple of corners before the start here. And it is going to be a case of getting a good start with this weight to consider because it's really going to hit them near the end of the race. And, well, if anyone from outside the top 10 is going to do it, they'll need a brilliant start. They'll need to storm through and then make advantage of that. So really the start will count the most for these drivers as Lindbergh, Campfield, McGlade all start to pull into their grid starts. Doherty still yet around the last 2. You've heard my predictions. How about Kirky's?
I'm tempted to say Brugman, honestly. If not Brugman, Campfield.
It's not a bad shout.
I'm feeling bold. But here in the land of the rising sun, said sun is setting on what has been a brilliant evening of ITC action. We're back with the broadcast. We're back with the brilliant driving. And fingers crossed we're going to be in for one final brilliant race here at an Okayama circuit that has provided and then some. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights illuminate above the drivers. And we're racing. And it is a good start from Campfield on the inside line there. He jumped his teammate Lindbergh. McGlade makes the better of the starts in the second row of the grid and into turn 1. It is Campfield who is well clear. Side by side, I see the smile power of Pinches going very wide there through turn 1. And McGlade already on the attack. Look at Taylor. He's had a stormer once again on the inside of Niels Brugman, who got caught out just a little bit through the Moss S. Brugman edges just out ahead. As to the outside, McGlade goes of Lindbergh. Yeah, looks to go around the outside.
Oh, Baldy.
Baldy.
Yeah, Baldy's gone round. He dropped it into the corner there. I don't know whether there was contact or not. I'll have to go back and investigate, but he's dropped big time as Gergo Baldy. He's not nearly where he was. He's 16th now. 16th. As the cars continue to come down through here. And while I see the 2 ACRs, this didn't end well the last time they tried it. But with fresh tyres, it should end well this time. Hoyer, Schmidt, and again, Mitty Hoyer almost leaning on Schmidt there. Oh, and he gets a bit of a love tap from Baldy as well. The Hungarian is wanting to fight through here. Schmidt gets tapped. And it is carnage going on a bit, but no major accidents thus far. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm going to find out what happened to Gergo Baldy.
Further back, by the way, Taylor did make the move, and he's up into P4. He's made a great start as the Englishman. Although, oh, look at that, leaving the door open for Niels Brugman on the inside. Contact between the two. That's going to cause a massive Constantina effect as we head through there. But round the final couple of corners, well, Matthew Allington, put your tinfoil hat on. Because why the F1? They're still leading. Not only that, but they're still 1-2. It's Campfield who leads from Lindbergh, McGlade, Taylor, Brugman, Olsen, Strana, Pinches, Siggy Rebenak, and Tyen. They've not dropped positions. They're still inside the top 10 as Taylor is going to... Oh, he's gone really wide, but he's sticking it in. That's great car control from the Englishman. He's flying at the starts. He has done all evening. And McGlade is looking like a very vulnerable target indeed.
Yeah, McGlade, we know he's a hard charger, we know he's a hard defender, but Taylor, ultimately, at the end of the day, the Oh, you see, he's just absolutely hunting for track position, which just doesn't exist at the moment, because McGlade has got it all blocked off to himself. Taylor is not going to get a go unless McGlade gives it up here, and Niels Bruggeman's going to cause problems as well. Tobias Olsen wants a shot at the crack of the whip as well. Taylor to the outside. McGlade has the preferable line. Olsen will try and close in. Brugman too. And there's all sorts of argy-bargy going on. McGlade defending nicely. Taylor can't get through. Brugman can't get through. Matthew Ellington will be rubbing his hands with glee here because his two boys are pulling away. Man McGlade backs the rest of them up behind him.
This could not be going any better. It really couldn't. The only problem that I can see short term is that Lindbergh is now starting... Well, not only that, but Lindbergh's starting to catch up Campfield. And so there's the question of, well, do you let them through or do you let them battle?
I don't suspect for a minute Lindbergh's going to compromise this one too. I know Johan likes winning, but I don't suspect for a minute, knowing the position they're in, he's going to do anything to throw it up in the air. I think he's going to be perfect rear gunner for Campfield if McGlade gets close. But McGlade's embroiled in a battle of his own, which might slow him down. So really, they've got to try and get as close as they can without fighting each other, these two mighty ones. As Taylor tries the inside, but there's no room at the end. McGlade, again, shuts the door before he can even get his breath out.
And they've got to be careful because Brugman is there watching brief. The two Red Bull Street Fighters are looking strong as well. 6th and 7th pinches. Siggy Tyen still rounding out the top 10. As look at this on the edge of the points. It's Baldy who's losing position to Dan Kell. His miserable evening looking to go from bad to worse. He's going to remain on the inside here going up into turn 4 though. He should keep that position for now, but he's losing time to the ACRs ahead of him. Of course, Hoyer and Schmidt haven't really made up much time, actually. They're only 13th and 14th, so not the best point scoring form here. Look at Mike Bell though. He sees an opportunity and he's going to take it on the inside of Dan Kell here into the hairpin.
Siggy!
Siggy
go around that corner there. He got very sideways, really channeling his inner Takumi Fujiwara just like before. And he may have dropped a place, I don't know, but he's fighting pinches now. But Bell, as you rightly say, trying to take advantage. Shepard getting touched slightly by Cal now. Chris Shepard and Mike Bell is going to be the battle for 16th place at the moment as this huge train flows forward. Pinch is going for Strana, Olsen going for Brugman, going for Taylor, going for McGlade. And McGlade now on the back of Lindbergh starting to, Campfield starting to run away with this. Lindbergh acting as the rear gunner as he needs to.
You say running away, he's less than a second ahead of Lindbergh. A second is easily gained and lost. I mean,
it's more than it was before.
It's 5/10 now.
As I said, yes, 5/10 now, but when he hits it, we'll see if he does hit it, but if he hits it, this may be a Campfield win to add to his win that he's already got. I'm not jinxing it. I am touching the IKEA table that is made of wood over there. But I'm not going to just... I'm keeping all possibilities on speed dial.
I've got my IKEA table in front of me. It's my office desk. In front of him.
Too.
Oh, lovely.
If you count the one I made myself.
In front of Brugman, by the way, is Adam Taylor, who after his brilliant start has started to slow up a little bit. I think the Dutchman a little bit impatient to get past now, especially with the threat of Olsen behind. Into the hairpin, he's tucked up in the slipstream. Is he going to go for a little bit of a dive into the hairpin?
Nope.
No, he's been very conservative on the brakes, actually, and I just wonder
whether...
he
had to punt from Olsen for his troubles.
Oh, I don't think it was that bad, but...
No, it was a light punt. It was a punt go. It was possibly...
I mean, he is braking early, though. I think he's genuinely saving tyres.
I think on the as far as punts go, it was a green pepper on the scale of 1 to Scotch bonnet, but... You know, it was a sort of a friendly one, saying, hi, I'm here, rather than, get out of the way, I've got business to conduct. But, yeah, you know, it's not going to help it.
This is a long train. I didn't realise how long it was. It's Eric Strana down to Gergo Baldy. That is a lot of points on the table.
It is, I have not seen, it is a long train indeed. You don't get them very long these days, in terms of touring cars in real life. So to see it in ITC is brilliant. Campfield and Lindbergh still 1 and 2 at the end of the 4th lap completed. McGlade 3rd from Taylor, Brugman. Taylor, this battle, the problem is, this battle, McGlade and Taylor is going to hold McGlade and Taylor up. They're not going to get a chance to fight Lindbergh and Campfield. Allington rightly says everyone will save tyres now. Save tyres now, push later. It's the enterprise strategy. And ultimately... push hard later gives the chaos later. So really, maybe the white chip wants to push him in hard and now to get out of it.
But then again, why would they? Because McGlade, with all due respect to McGlade, he hasn't looked like threatening them this entire race so far. It's lap 5 of 13 already. Is that Brugman looking on the inside? No, he's looking to the outside of Taylor, just checking up.
Lindbergh went a bit wide in that corner. He's dropped a bit more time on Campfield here. Seems to be slightly less consistent than his teammate, but they are still holding formation 1 and 2 nicely. That's what matters for now. We are only 4 laps in, yes, but 4 laps is a quarter of the race, and that can often be the point at which drivers start to settle down. So as long as they don't do anything daft, which I doubt they will, I think Lindbergh's got a very smart head on his shoulders, they should be fine.
Big asterisks on
should asterisk, because you never know what's going to happen.
In comparison to the last 2 races, it has been a relatively quiet start to race 3. I think there's much more anticipation for this one, given what it could mean for the relegation scrap, I think. Campfield leads McGlade. No, Campfield leads Lindbergh, sorry, leads McGlade. Taylor, Brugman, Olsen, and actually Taylor going a bit wide there again. I'm worried for Taylor. I think he really tried to attack a lot in these opening laps, and it might have hurt his tyres somewhat, because Brugman and Olsen, they look like they could go for a move at any corner, quite frankly. The two of them seemingly sizing up the Englishman.
If you use your tyres too early, you get a good stop, and then they're overheating afterwards, so you're more prone to understeer, especially in these front-wheel drive cars. Car just doesn't turn in as it should. Tyres overheat. You can't then get them cooled down without slowing down drastically. So you're forced to go slower in the later stages and lose track position. Brugman trying to go around the outside, maybe just trying to cycle out. Here comes Olsen like a charging shark down the inside there, though. That makes it work, and he hammerheads his way into the position, though. Brugman's not going to give us so easily. Forced to in the end, though. Olsen goes P5, and a bit of a love tap from Brugman for his troubles.
That's what happens when you leave the door open, though, Mr. Brugman. You're going to have someone like... Right, exactly. Olsen's going to pick up on something like that. And his hope, I guess, now, Brugman, is that Olsen... Oh, goodness me! Trying to do a similar sort of lunge. Not going to work up there, unfortunately. I guess what his hope now is that Olsen can try and overtake Taylor, I guess. Maybe just save your tyres a little bit and see where you can end up at the end of the race.
I mean, that might be his strategy. It might be his... Maybe just to kind of swell it up in your mouth and see, perhaps, where the dice lie, and see if he can take advantage of things. If he drives a calm race like he's doing, he's less. The thing is, he's less prone to make any mistakes. So if he just lets it lie and see how it goes, he can pick up if Taylor makes a mistake or if Olsen trips up, because we know Olsen is all or nothing. We know Taylor will not let Olsen through if he can help it. If Niels Brugman can be there to pick the pieces up, he will benefit from that rather than...
Oh, look at this. He's going for it already. And he's done it.
Yeah, you see, rather than ruining his tyres, he can pick up on Taylor later.
And so these two are actually going to go side by side. Taylor using the outside of turn 4 there very smartly to get almost like a slingshot up the hill. It's worked out for him nicely in terms of straight line speed, but Olsen still has the inside going into turn 5. This should be the Swedish driver's corner as long as he doesn't outbrake himself. He doesn't. In fact, he plants that very nicely on the apex. And in the space of 2 laps, in the space of 2 turn 5s, Olsen is up to P3.
McGlade backwards! Big backwards connection issues. He's gone down to 16, and he was third.
Or even further.
Down to 16, further than 16. It's gone catastrophically wrong. I may have commentators cursed Lulu McGlade there, but he's gone right down with a pick of 144 to 26th place. And the only benefit for that is for YTF1, who get a breather from McGlade, who was breathing down the trumpet. But it's a double-edged sword. They've got Olsen now, who's got free air.
Olsen's free.
And that might be a problem.
Oh, that's gutting for McGlade. That's the third person in 2 races now to suffer that sort of a connection issue.
I mean, it's just bad internet sometimes. Sometimes if you just have a slight bit of packet loss, Rfactor 2 overreacting, you go way back. And, well, that happens. And all of a sudden, what was a 3/10 lead has now become a 1.5 second lead for the YTF1 boys.
Well, now they've got a question on their hands because Lindbergh has remained close to Campfield.
He's not going to fight him. I can tell you categorically from the way he's been driving, he's not going to fight him.
You think he's going to absolutely stick to his guns as a rear gunner?
He will be the rear gunner of the century for Adrian Campfield.
Even if he's faster?
Even if he's faster, he will not mess this up for YTF1. He's been with Matt long enough to know how long this would mean. He will not go for it. He's closing up, but not at a quick enough rate. I don't think Johan is going to spoil this. I think he realises the magnitude.
Magnitude times 10 for those of you who come from a Pokemon background.
Oh,
it is a big result. It is a big result.
Turn it up to 11, go Spinal Tap on this.
Further back, by the way, Adam Taylor still in 4th. He's not necessarily defending off Niels Brugman, though, because Eric Strana is starting to apply all sorts of pressure underneath the rear wing of that Vauxhall. Pinches, Siggy Rebenak, Fidek Tyen, Yayovsky, Hoyer Schmidt. They're all still relatively close. Baldy and Bell, as is often the case, fighting it out, this time for one of the final points on the table. And watch out for Chris Shepherd and Matt Richards, actually. They fought their way through the field. They're not far away off points either.
They are not far off the points either, yeah. Keep them in mind, especially Kellen the Aurora. Aurora have had a decent round this round, actually, and they're going to boost the team standings chance. But, speaking of the team standings, again, touching the IKEA furniture, 45 points for YTF1 may catapult them near Aurora, who are in 9th. They stand 12th at the moment. That's 45 points and a right shout at the midfield if this works. And given that Olsen is 1.2 behind Lindbergh and 1.8 behind Canfield, the signs are positive. The signs are definitely positive, I'd say.
Sorry, I was seeing urgent message I had to reply to there. My apologies. But urgent. Oh, but anyway. Yeah,
was it from Matthew Allington saying, get the paramedics now?
No, it was not from Matthew Allington, do not worry. Although he might need paramedics by the end of this race. Lap 9 of 13. 9 of 13. The light at the end of the tunnel is in sight, but Tobias Olsen has started to pop. Further back, there's Eric Strana. Contact with Niels Brugman, clouds into him, and that could allow Adam Pinches through as well. It is not often that you see Eric Strana get his elbows up, but once again, Niels Brugman left the door open. You cannot do that in the ITC, and it is, oh, look at that, and a slight slip on the grass as well, and he's off.
He's off big style.
And that's him out. He's out.
Big style, yeah.
And all of his own fault as well, unfortunately.
He's not going to be happy about that. Yeah, he just, into the fight, oh yeah, he just dropped it, and then he pulled off. He pulled off, actually gave up. After he went that way, so gave up of his own accord, and well, someone who's not going to want to give up was Lindbergh. Olsen seems to be closing. The gap has come down to 0.8 between the two of them, and well, Olsen's going to be fighting like a madman, 100% all the way. Lap 10 of 13, 3 to go, and if they can just hold it, this will be the best result possibly in ITC history for the lads from Bath.
I think it is. It has to be, surely. I don't think they've ever had a 1-2.
Up there with the best of all time, absolutely.
And that'd be strange as well to have 2 1-2s from 2 different teams in the same evening.
Yeah. I mean, Edge you would expect it from, but
yeah.
Not going into this round from YTF1, but stranger things have happened. I keep saying stranger things, and it would be a well-deserved one because it took full advantage of the start, didn't it? That's what the thing is in race 3, the start.
Well done.
Mind you, Olsen is lurking.
I also noticed Lewis McGlade unfortunately retired as well.
Yeah, I thought he would go out after that. Mind you, Strana's going to make Taylor's life easy. We talk to Street Fighters. He's not going to make Taylor's life easy, is it, Strana? Because this could be a 1-2 and a 3-4 in the same race.
They are underdogs in the Teams Championship, Red Bull Street Fighter, and they are by miles ahead of everyone else in that Teams Championship at the moment. Strana, he made a really good opportunistic move on Brugman just a few laps ago. Got him completely out of the way as well after he completely collapsed a couple of corners afterwards. And he could be looking, not necessarily at a third podium of the evening, but a third, and a 4th. That's incredible consistency over one evening. And it would put him right back in the hunt for the Drivers' Championship as well. Right on the back of Taylor. Great slate, but Taylor is he's gonna hold on for now. But I think we should emphasize for now. I think this move is coming.
Yeah, for now in italic font, quite per se. And here comes Strana, the multiple champion, the one who's always the big threat in ITC. Gonna have a go at Adam Taylor. He's teaming up ahead. There's rubbing for sure. Strana not giving up till the last. Taylor trying to take every millimetre that he can get, and he is ultimately successful. But Strana's not going to be happy because that was a wibbly-wobbly street fighter right there. And speaking of wibbly-wobbly, the wibbly-wobbliness is happening in the front too. Look how close Olsen is to Lindbergh now. Gap is now less than it's about 2/10 now. It was 6. This is where the rear gunner is gonna come in. Lindbergh's gonna be rear gunner for Campfield. If he can't get second, defend from Olsen and hold him up so Campfield takes the win. This is ultimate strategy, wingman strategy coming through here. Strana will want to get through Taylor, of course, but the focus is on Olsen now.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Oh, it'll be very spaghetti bloomin' stomachs for the ITF1 boys at the moment. Lap 12 of 13, the last lap but one. If Johan Lindbergh can hold off Tobias Olsen for just 190 more seconds, he will have this second place. If he can't, then he's got problems.
2 laps. Oh my goodness me.
This is probably it's going to be one of the most tense laps of Lindbergh's life. Forget your Super League and Super Cup wins. This is touring cars, and this is where the pressure's on.
And further behind, Strana was almost pushing Taylor through the Moss S. There's
a bit of bad blood between these two now, I think.
And they were so lucky before as well, considering all the Rfactor 2 contact physics issues we've seen this year. I can't believe neither of them went round. Again, Taylor employs the same tactic.
It's almost like he's trying to take as much of the outside as he can at the expense of using Stur as a buffer. I'm not sure the Swede, the veteran Swede, is going to be very, very happy about that one. Cars behind forming a train, Hoyer and Schmidt notably, Siggy and Ty in 8th and 9th. We haven't talked about them all race, but they're doing a solid job. Fidix pinches Strana, all in that battle as well. Olsen, he's neither here nor there. He's gaining and losing time at a rate of knots. He can't decide where he wants to be, ultimately, and that's what's hurting him right now. Round the final corner to start the final lap. Lindbergh has caught a break. I don't suspect for a minute, even if he caught Campfield, he'd go for it now because Adrian has led the whole race. It's now 75 seconds to determine whether history will be made here in Okayama.
I'm going to dispense some advice. And it's advice that should be heeded well. Keep it on the black stuff. Do not go outside of those lines. That's all you need to do.
Now is not the time to play roulette with your race wins.
Behind, Strana has not gotten past Taylor. Although, look at that. Oh, a bit of a wiggle on the exit of the Moss S. Taylor was considering his options, ultimately chose the right one. For now, Strana pushing him up the hill. As behind, look at Pinches. He's fallen right off as well. Fiduk, Tyen, and Siggy Revenak all so close behind him. Pinches going to be defending into the hairpin. The two ACRs going side by side as well.
Strana and Taylor, this is a two-way fight into the same corner. Strana on the outside, can't get it done unless he gets the undercut. Out the eggs of the corner, Fiduk usurped by Pinches there. Tyen 2 wants a shot. Ooh. Taylor and Strana pushed wide again is the Swede, and again and again and again and again. It's get pushed wide city for Eric Strana today. But I'm telling you, James, this is not going to end well if this continues. Strana at the inside now. Contact again, they're both fighting, but Olsen has fallen back. Call the paramedics now. Matthew Arlington's about to have a heart attack because as the two cars come around the final corner, James, history's in the making.
Why the F1? Announce rename. Why the ITC? It's a 1-2 for Why the F1. Campfield picks up his second win of the season. Formation flying with Lindbergh home in second. That's his second podium of the season. Olsen comes home third. That's his second podium of the season. And what a result for Red Bull Street Fighter it is as well. Their cars 3 and 4. Strana.
After Taylor, he was fourth. And then
yes, you're right.
Strana got through in the final turn and Pinches pipped him at the final finish for that 5th place. So there goes the WTCR driver. There goes the Swede. There goes Olsen. So Street Fighter got the 3-4. And I think Matthew Arlington has just entered a new plane of existence as the Bath drivers finally, after 5 years of trying, the team that gave me my break in sim racing and the team that I've always rooted for secretly, even when they've kicked my butts in every competition we've entered, gets that elusive 1-2. And it's a night, remember, the 1st of November, never mind the 5th, as the night when YTF1 were #1.
Vidoc 7th with Tyen and Sigi Rebenak 8th and 9th, Yovsky 10th with Bell, Hoyer, Schmidt, Richards and Kell rounding out your point scorers. The retirements from this race, the entirety of the second row as it turned out, Niels Brugman and Lewis McGlade. It's an evening that should see Edge Esports comfortably in the lead of the team's championship. This was honestly one of the most polarizing rounds of ITC we have seen, and ultimately it was through 3 absolutely phenomenal races. I know that the beginning of race 3 was a little bit quiet, but goodness me, once it got going, did it get going?
Did it get going indeed? It kicked off like a football being launched in the air by a footballer or a football playing car, if you have Esports discernation, I think the word is. I'm going to have to consult the dictionary on that one. But either way, it kicked off like an absolute firework. We had shenanigans, drama, left, right, up, down, doesn't matter which direction it was. People were going absolutely for it. But in the end, the 1-2 for YTF1, the 3-4 for Street Fighter, and winners all round in all races. And I think after that, we're going to have a night of interviews for sure. And I'm going to see if we can get a Matthew Arlington, actually, because he must be happy after that. He must be happy. And it's rare enough we get him ever heard. I think tonight's the exception.
To be fair, no one is waiting. So we'll give them a couple of minutes. We'll give them a couple of minutes to see whether they come through. But yeah, ultimately, I know that Edge were a little bit anonymous in race 3, but they still scored strong. They have to be favourites for the team's championship now, because ACR didn't have a spectacular round with the exception of Smith's podium. Epic Racing didn't have a great round. Enterprise Pulsars didn't have a great round. The only team that really did have a decent round was Street Fighter Racing Systems, of which they had a non-score in race 1. 2 rounds to go. Edge Esports are surely in the driver's seat for not only the drivers' championship through the way of Sigi Rebenak, but now the team's championship as well.
Yeah, team's championship too. Big boost for them indeed. Real strong position they're in now. And well, I'm being told by Matthew Allen he'd like to come and be interviewed, but he's in the university library, so he can't.
That is the
one time his team gets a 1-2 and he's in the one place where he can't make noise. The irony of it all.
That is a shame and
but
unfortunate.
I'm sure he'd be laughing his head off and being very happy if he wasn't, though.
Internally.
I'm sure. I'll tell you what, beers are on me tonight, mate.
Well, thankfully, we do have 3 interviews. And let's begin with our championship leader, shall we? Kevin Sigi Rebenak. You picked up your... Hello. It's not a bad evening for you again, is it? 5th win of the year. All top 10 scores. Edge are clearly out in front in the team's championship. You're clearly out in front in the drivers. Is it now yours and the team's to lose going into the last 2 rounds of the season?
I think it is, to be honest. We just need to be careful in the last 2 rounds. I think we just picked up the correct teammate for me right now. Unfortunately, Mo just had some issues, and yeah, he just wasn't getting the results that we needed, which is unlucky. Not his fault 100%, but I was just lucky to get y'all by my side so we could finish P1 and P2 in the second race. And yeah, the races were just incredible. Barely any contact, but they were just straight up really, really good and very, very tough to race.
What do you think of Okayama? Because there were certainly a lot of complaints about Zhuhai. This year in particular has been an ITC season echoing the ones of old, where we have a lot of new places to go to. And it seemed like there was a lot of strategy on the front-wheel drive side of things where you had to save tyres, otherwise you were going to be struggling to get to the end. Do you feel like it was a good challenge and a good place to race?
I think so. I mean, the people with front-wheel drive just had the worst time ever, I think, on this track, because it was 13-lap race and you just shouldn't use up the tires as much. And us with the Subaru, we're just in a perfect spot where the tires just don't even fall off. It's like I had like 30% left on my rears, let alone, and I saw Richards having 1%, which is a bit of an advantage for us. But regarding qualifying and everything else, the braking, I think it's a bit more balanced. But to be honest, for us in race pace, if we get pole, it's just a guaranteed win if you don't screw up turn 1.
And on that note, let's bring in your teammate for this round, actually, Jarl Tyen, because you ended up recording your strongest result of the season so far, a 1-2. Will Mohammed be feeling a little bit hard done by that you've managed to complete this with you in the team, Jarl, or do you think those team guys who's happy to see you step in when the problem arose?
I think they're just happy. Not a great deal of practice, but we came in prepared enough to do the job, I think. I think the car is fun as hell to drive, to be honest. And obviously Kevin did a great job, and I was just to do the best I could, and I think I did a good job as a rear gunner.
I mean, it's been a while since you actually drove in tin tops. Do you feel like this sort of a successful evening will take your interest for next year maybe?
My heart is with Formula cars. It's always, but obviously I do the oval side of iRacing, so there's some of the feeling like it's a tank driving line with very little aerodynamics. But no, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be for me, but it was fun for now.
Well, it was great to see you anyway, and what a result, what a brilliant round for the team overall. Edge Esports boys, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll look to bring in the other team that had some rather nice success as well. Let's bring you both in, shall we? Johan Lindberg and Adrian Campfield. I think we'll start with Adrian, picking up your second win of the season. You've been on a bit of a terrible run going up into Japan. It must be said you've not scored, or going into this round, you hadn't scored since that win. But here you are again, a 1-2 with the team, no less.
Yeah, I know. It was awesome drive from both of us there. We've had a bit of bad luck, to be honest, with like the way we've qualified and penalties and getting involved in stuff we shouldn't have been involved in. But obviously it came together in this race. It's awesome for Matt as well. Matt Allington, YTF1's first 1-2. So yeah, we're over the moon with that. 45
points. To put that into context, going into this round, the team had 77. And I think it's fair to say that the major goal for the team was, from this point onwards, to avoid relegation. Do you think you're safe now?
No, on the team, there's never to avoid relegation for me. We've had 2 wins. Johan's been up in the podium a couple of times. It's just, you've just had bad luck. So, if any other championship, we might have been right up there. But, yeah, we're over the moon with that.
And speaking of over the moon, Johan, actually quite a similar vein of form going into Japan. You haven't scored, or you only had 1 very small point score since, of course, that podium in race 3 in France. You picked up now your second of the season. It must feel good to get back up there after what's been a bit of a bad patch.
Yeah, I must say I didn't expect this outcome of the night, going in with the 30 positions grid drop. So I mean, I'm pretty happy to be P2 in the last straight.
And we were having this discussion throughout the race. Josh Anderson is convinced that you were going to play second fiddle, that you were going to play rear gunner to Campfield once you got into that position of a secure 1-2. Was that the case?
Let's just say we didn't want to risk anything by doing stupid internal battles. So I mean, of course, I told him before I probably would catch him on the last lap, but not this time.
I think we had quite a good setup as well there, because at the end of the race we started to pull away again. Obviously, Ollison was trying to catch, but just couldn't at the end.
Well, I guess there's an open question to both of you guys now as well. You seem to have found a good setup for here. Do you think that setup's going to carry over well to Curitiba, or do you think it's going to be a circuit where you might need to make a couple of changes?
It will be good there. It's a fast flowing setup, so that track's fast and flowing, so we should be good as well.
Well, that is, as you said it, YDF1's best result in ITC, ever. Their first ever 1-2.
Best result ever in anything.
No, well, I'm over the moon for Matt. We've given him some bad results so far. So.
Yeah, I mean,
he should put a smile on his face.
I think you both deserve beers yourself. Get Matt one as well. Have a grand old party in the YTF1 camp in Bath now, because it's history in the making, and that's what we like to see, James.
Matt can get the beers in GPVWC Day.
There you go. It's all sorted.
I mean, it's in Silverstone, so yous will all be going.
What a lovely plan to finish off the interview with. Adrian, Johan, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you, everyone out there, for joining us as well as on what has been a brilliant return to Japan in the International Touring Cup. And, well, it is over to the Americas next for our final 2 rounds. Can you believe we're there already? Curitiba, followed up by Virginia International Raceway's North Course. First up is Curitiba, and as Adrian rightly said, Josh, a very fast and flowing circuit. Sure makes a welcome change, I think, for many drivers from Interlagos.
Yeah, and going to be a very interesting circuit for sure. Interlagos, you know, it's the obvious choice, but going not with the obvious choice is interesting, in fact. And I'm going to see how this... I don't know whether I'll be here on commentary again, but good circuit, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's one I've not got experience with myself, but it looks very promising. And whether I'm here on commentary again or as a spectator, I'm sure it'll be one to watch after that spectacle that was Okayama.
If you want more spectacles, of course, then next week you'll want to keep an eye on this YouTube channel as well, since the career ladder returns as we head to Mexico for Formula Challenge, Super Cup, and the WTF1 Super League. And then note in your calendars down 2 weeks' time, because that's where you're going to find us again when we return with the Brazilian Touring Cup. I almost forgot the name of it there. The Brazilian Touring Cup. And what may very well ultimately be a final indicator of who is going to take the team's championship. It's swung heavily in the way of Edge for this particular round, but anything can happen. They could completely non-score. We don't know. And we're not going to speculate. We're just going to leave it to how fate decides. Fate decided that Mr. Anderson would join me in the comms booth today. Thank you so much for joining me, Josh. It's been great to have you back. Argo Tina, as always, has been a wonderful cameraman delivering the beautiful, pretty pictures to your screens. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, have a very good night. Take care.